Hello everyone, welcome to Tiering Saga, where we tier Tiering Saga units. If you saw this list and wondered what the heck was wrong with me when I made it, well, I made it based on a single run of Tiering Saga, and a little bit of discussion with people who know more about it. But in this video, I'm going to work on fixing it, and today I'm getting some much needed help from resident Three Houses expert and part-time website owner, Rengo1997. Hello, how you doing?
General Kenobi, you are a bold one. Little known fact, I do actually have a life outside of Three Houses, and Kagas and Tiering Saga and Berwick Saga are actually part of it, so this is gonna be fun.
I believe you. He was hard to book for this one, everyone, but I was really hungry for some views, so I was like, alright, let's do some Tiering Saga. It's really necessary. We're gonna go over all these characters, probably in two parts, because you can see how many of them there are. And Tiering Saga characters are quite unique, and I think part of the fun of this is not just going to be, tiering the characters, but also just talking about how unique they are and what funny things you can do with them. It's not like GBA games where you get two units from similar classes and they're like the exact same unit. There's always this fun difference in skills or personal weapons to be discussed. So looking forward to it. Haven't discussed a new Fire Emblem game in a long while. We're gonna start from the top and go down to the bottom. Do we need to lay down any ground rules, Rancor? I forgot to ask.
It's mainly that the specific order within tiers isn't as important. It's
True.
mainly which tier they go to. We will try to somewhat position them in tiers, but if one character is slightly above the other in the same tier, then it's whatever.
Yeah, I'm not gonna super nitpick who goes exactly where, but I do think it's important to get them in the right the 5 tiers, and then the subtle differences. Yeah. I mean, if there's a super obvious difference between two characters where one should be over the other, then I'm down for fixing that. But it's not the priority today. The priority is having fun, doing Kaga things, and looking at how ridiculous the units are.
And how balanced is its passion?
Yes. Well, yeah, we'll see about that part. So, yeah, I guess we could start off with Rafen. This is the only unit, I think, in the whole game that doesn't have any flaws whatsoever. Even the other S-tier units, I think, have some kind of problems. But like I said in the Tiering Saga thoughts video, I feel like Rafen is just, you get, well, not quite Marcus, but someone almost as good as Marcus, and he just promotes into hard. That's the feeling I got when I used him. And he's probably not as Jagany as Marcus is, he's not as overpowered as someone else is, but you still get a pretty strong paladin early on that promotes into a wyvern. That's insanely good, and he stays good forever. And he has lance rank indoors, unlike all the other calves in this list, it feels like, which is such a huge boon, because I hate the fact that you can't use anything but swords indoors with most of the units. So he's super good, and I don't think there's anyone I would put over him. There's probably points in the game where he's not the best for something, but he's always so good, I can't really come up with a reason not to have him as the best unit. Is that the common consensus as well?
Alright, so whether he's the best unit, top 3, top 5, whatever, he's definitely S. That doesn't go under discussion. You mentioned that he doesn't really have any flaws. There are a few I would like to mention that don't detract him from being good, but they are worth talking about. First of all, his bases aren't actually all that hot. 8 strength, 7 speed. 9 master, 7 defense. These are obviously really good bases, but during the mid-game, more specifically Chapter 9, which is a pretty nice stress test for him, and before he promotes to Wyvern, those bases can start hurting him a little, and that's when people for example, early pick Naron or Zeke take over more so than him. When he gets the Wyvern, though, he gets a lot more utility because he flies. He kind of he's almost a trap in the sense that he makes bronze paladins look better than they are, because you see him, he has 8 move, but one point of that move is actually just personal movement, and bronze paladin just has 7 move. So if you promote Chryse or Arcus into that class, they will have 7 movement and 4 movement indoors, while he has 5. The lance rank indoors on Runen route honestly doesn't matter that much. It will matter for chapters 37 and 39, but other than that, well, he is the best candidate for the Lead Spear, which doubles strikes. At least I believe it's the Lead Spear. Someone in the comments correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, he's the best user of that. So while he might not be the best statistically, he joins so early and will do so much for you that there is no doubt that he's just S tier. Fantastic.
Yeah.
One other part, he also has really low luck.
Yeah, I was about to ask that.
So I would give him some of the early luck potions.
Yeah, I think I did invest a little bit into Rafen when I got him in air, so I was like, yeah, you probably give him some of these, maybe even a speed stat booster, because like it's not as far ahead of the curve as like a real pre-promote. Basically, he's just
I actually did give that to him as well. I did a 0% growth fund of this game. It wasn't like anything serious, not like LTC or whatever, just for fun. And yeah, speed potion, which is +3 speed on him, definitely goes a long way.
Yeah, agreed. By the way, if we are discussing like specific chapters, like chapter 9, would you be so kind as to remind everyone what chapter it is? Because it has a lot of maps. I don't remember the numbers offhand.
Of course. So chapter 9 is the first chapter after the first route split. It's the chapter where a small portion of your army starts at the top, a lot of them at the bottom near a coastline desert, and there is a lot of enemies in the top right corner.
Oh, so it's the map with Narcus then, right?
Yes, it's the Narcus map.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's giving me an idea. I think Tearing Saga has a lot of slightly similar maps, but I think I can probably tell them all apart within the discussion. I'll probably have some footage at the bottom right, but I think we can fit probably like 2 chapters in the entirety of this video because all the chapters are so long.
Yeah, probably. Other place where the flight makes a big difference, I would say, is chapter 18. Fort Balt, Barbarossa chapter.
Oh yeah, the one with all the ballistas.
Yeah, the one with the ballistas, the jacked up boss, everything. Well, he flies, so that helps. Though he needs to be careful not to get sniped.
Yeah, isn't the idea that you fly him into the fort and then you dismount him on terrain and then he fights everything?
Well, that depends. You can do some poke tactics. For fighting everything, you are honestly better just doing it through walls with Zeke.
Oh yeah.
There is one thing about Rafen that I should also mention, and this will come up a lot for discussion for units that use lances as their primary weapon type. He starts with 9 mastery. Now, why is 9 mastery specifically so important? For lances, anyway. It's because that's the Plum.
Yeah.
Which in a previous translation was called the Short Spear, so I jokingly called the game Short Spear Saga. That lance is just so good. It has the weight of an iron lance. It's stronger, slightly less accurate, but 1 to 2 range.
Yeah, and you can buy them too with plenty of gold.
You know how my rounds of Tearing Saga usually go? I get to chapter 7, which is the chapter that sells them, and I buy like 10 of them.
Same. I spent all my gold on Plums. I think there's like the only other thing I want to buy really is like 11 swords, which is just as good.
Yeah, prior to chapter 9, there is a shop that also sells killing edges, but you know, for you would have to have foreknowledge of that.
Yeah, that's kind of the gist of Tearing Saga, is that you have to have knowledge to get a lot of things. Like you can't even promote Rafen to Wyvern if you don't know how to do it. But I think it just takes putting him on the right routes along with where Shean is, right? And then he's good.
And just not rejecting the event.
Yeah, it just does that. Nah, fuck this Wyvern, I'm staying on foot.
Here's a fun fact. He does actually have an alternate ending if you do that. Like, if you don't put him on a Wyvern, he actually gets a different ending.
It's so weird. It's so funny. Yeah, for this, I'm assuming that whoever's playing has foreknowledge and is trying to play somewhat efficiently, in case that wasn't clear. So it's not like you just sit around grinding Bilford movement for like 500 years. You do have to try and go somewhat fast.
Why?
I know.
He does everything.
I mean, I got built for like 2 or 3 moves in my run, so you can't even call me biased here.
Okay, we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's probably enough on Rafen, right? We can move on to Naron. So Naron is one of the units in this game that has variable recruitment. There is a choice after chapter 1 where you can pick him as one of the 4 units, and then the others 3 plus I think Lionel stays for the second round, where Holmes can pick up another one of those 4. And which you do kind of impacts how good a unit is. Naron is, I kind of put him here with the assumption that you put him on Runan's route because I hear that's really good, but I put him on Holmes' route because my initial pick was Lee, the bishop in A tier. So I didn't have the full Naron experience, but I can see from how good he was on Holmes with like how much I sandbagged him. Like I late promoted him because I didn't get a Night Crest early enough. and I put him on the wrong route, and I still could see how powerful he is because he promotes to, I think it's called like Gold Knight.
Gold Knight, yes.
Yeah, it's like a massive promotion bonus. He just wrecks everything with the pilums, whatever you want to call them, and this is super good. He has Paragon. He grows really fast. His growths aren't even that good, but he gets so many levels that it's fine. So if you do that initially with like a unit you get in Chapter 2, that's just absolutely silly and busted. And the only thing that's wrong with him is he doesn't fly and he needs some time to train. And everything else about him seems really good, right?
Yeah. All right. So there are 2 points of discussion for Naron, which is early Naron and late Naron. For Verge split or whatever the 4 units pick, I will refer to them as early or late.
Early is Rudin, right? And then late is Holmes, basically, right?
No, early is like when you pick them after Chapter 1, and late is when you pick them.
Oh, yeah, because you could still put them on other routes afterwards with like the 3 route splits.
You
fair.
could technically put them on other routes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So with Naron, his growths aren't all that. The main thing is that his promotion bonuses are actual insanity. And then he gets... Fun fact, he actually gets like a skill at level 12 only if he's promoted. Which is one of the funnier parts of TRS, which is lethality at level 12. The real part about him are the promotion bonuses, since it's plus 8 HP, plus 6 strength, plus 7 skill, plus 7 speed, plus 5 defense, and plus 4 mastery. And Adept Pavice as skills. So if you recruit him early, then what you do is feed him Chapter 2 and some Chapter 3 kills to reach level 10. Chapter 3 in one of the houses has a Night Crest, and you can just promote him. And just like that, you have a unit that's like reaching 15s in his stats, just basically instantly.
Is he like better than Rafen at that point for a while?
Definitely. Rafen is like reaching 10s, maybe. Keyword. I mean, like at that point with stats, like really, like you just throw pylons on him or anything, and he just destroys. It's not that interesting, I suppose, to talk about him. I guess the only other part is that he's locked to swords indoors, so he's less good. But if you're on run and route, he doesn't have to worry about that as much. Yeah, he just destroys things.
It's good. But we don't have to talk about every unit for hours. If there's nothing to say other than good growth unit, that's just it, right?
Yeah, exactly. The more interesting discussion is about late Naron. He competes with Lionel, and the thing about Holmes' route is that there are a lot more indoor chapters, and indoor chapters. Since, as you mentioned, every cav, besides Bronze Paladins, I guess Bow Knight's low, dismounts to sword usage. So, with him, he's not as great indoors, and Lionel is really good indoors. So, you might be honestly better off just picking Lionel at that point.
What is his move indoors compared to Lionel's?
His is, I believe, 5 compared to Lionel's 6.
Okay, and then Lionel can use Pilums.
Allow me real quick to double check that.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I'm having the bot open on the side. Okay, so Lionel starts with 5 movement, but promotion gives +1. So once he promotes, 6 movement.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, you can definitely substitute in late Naron with someone else.
Okay.
Like for example, San, which we'll talk about in a bit. But early Ronin is early Naron is definitely just like promote him, and the early chapters just fold.
Yeah, I remember Iris had told me like they were actually glad I didn't pick Naron early on because the game would have gotten really degenerate and boring. Whereas with the Lee pick, Lee just supports all the other characters into being usable with Physic, whereas Naron just like kind of absorbs everything into a black hole called himself.
Yeah, it's worth noting also that we'll talk about it more when we get to Plum or Lee, but the in-armor staff is tied to the early Lee pick.
Yeah.
So picking Naron means that you don't have the early in-armor, which for example can help Rafen or someone like Esther if you're training her.
True.
So that's something. The early choice really is between Naron and Lee. I'm actually more of a Lee proponent, But I mean, you can't deny that a unit with like 13s, 15s, and everything in like chapter 3 isn't good.
Yeah, when every enemy has like 5 or less in most stats, it feels like.
Yeah, basically.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have entered a time loop. Me and Rengo were time travelers, and I screwed something up in the time machine. Or basically, I lost some footage, so we're re-recording a little bit. But I'll let you know when we're time traveling and when we're not. So, we're going to talk about Rochelle next. Slightly controversial unit, but very interesting unit in a way. When I first got Rochelle and his Sunflame, I was like, wow, this unit is super good. And it turns out that he is good for the rest of the game once you get him. And the question of like how you rate him, I feel like comes down to how much do you value him not being around for a whole lot versus what he brings to the table, like what he uniquely brings to the table. And I put him as third best unit because I thought it was so good that he could attack from so far away with either Meteor or Sunflame for the entirety of the late game. But on the other hand, the late game is where you can warp skip a bunch of maps, so I'm not sure if he should maybe be penalized more harshly for his lack of availability, because it's only like, what, like 4 or 5 maps that you don't warp skip that he's around for? Or is it more than that? So I don't know where exactly to put him, but I think we kind of want to put him lower in the S tier, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right, but he should still remain S tier. The thing about Rochelle is that he, like, as a combat unit, he's just insane. He joins 2 levels from promotion, and he can, like, the very easy way to get it is just to kill the boss in his join chapter and then get some gargoyle kills. The thing with him is that Sunflame plus like leather shields is insane bulk, and because of how Tyrion Saga AI works, even if they don't do damage, they will still attack if you have shields, because they notice that they do monetary damage, quote unquote. So
If Rochelle gets hit, I will never financially recover from this.
if you put a silver shield, then yeah, you are never financially recovering from this. But 22 defense after like base, promotion, and Sunflame and leather shield is actually enough to get to not take damage from like the stone hoist on the very big bridge chapter. And with regards to warp skipping, he's actually usually sent on the Runen route, and that's the maps that don't particularly get warp skipped. 39 gets warp skipped by Sierra if she's on that route, but like Renee really wants to go on Holmes route because swamp.
Because like Runen has like the harder maps, right? But Holmes' maps become really hard or really long if you don't warp skip them.
Yeah, basically. He also has Vantage. Now, why is Vantage relevant? I mean, it's nice, but I mean, whatever. He can use Sylphid. Vantage Sylphid means that he strikes first, and then the enemy just doesn't get to counterattack. So that's, for example, a very easy way to take out the Condor squad in chapter 25. Just abuse Sylphid Vantage, and the enemies there don't even bother attacking him.
So god, it's not effective on flyers, right? It's just really good.
No, but it is still really strong, and he is just, he has high stats. I would say that like it's the question of early game versus late game. But in Tyrion Saga's case, I would say that it's more an argument between how many relevant maps he's around for and how many he misses. He misses some maps for sure. Like he misses Chapter 9, which is like the first Runen Route 1 map.
Where the desert?
Yeah, the big desert in the middle where your
darkest stuff, yeah.
Yeah, he misses Fort Bolt. Barbarossa's map doesn't really need an introduction.
Mm-hmm.
But he just, he just trivializes the bridge. He's really good on the other desert map. 26 A or B, he's excellent, especially more so even on B. 34, he can take on the big army of tanks in the middle.
Yeah, that's the big one I was thinking of for like relevant late game maps for him.
35, he can outrange Julius if you want to, so he doesn't trigger Sol on his lands. And Sunflame is 100 accuracy, so there is that. 36, I mean, that's not particularly a super hard map, but he does good combat there. And since Sunflame is also a monster, is I believe it is actually, monster effective, then he can just go to down. 37 is definitely a big map, and it's not an easy warp skip specifically. Sierra definitely contributes a lot there, but you still would like a combat unit. And while something doesn't protect him against the Draco zombies, it does protect him against the other monsters that, for example, the summoners can summon.
Yeah, that's the one with the 3 summoners at the top, right?
Exactly. And if you don't have Sierra on that route, which I believe you didn't, then its value increases exponentially on that map.
Yes, he was very relevant there just for like hitting summoners past the wall of monsters that you can't just one round kill with other units as easily. Or you can kill those monsters at 3 range. It works either way because it's so choke pointy. That's what I found really good. But if I did have Sierra, then he's not very good. Like, I feel like his impact is smaller than Sierra and Renee, for instance. They both seem like they do way more in those late game maps.
Yeah, well, I do agree that he should, again, I agree that he should move down, but I do not agree that he should exit S.
No, I agree. We can put it like the bottom FS for now, and then we'll see where he goes from there, I guess.
Or maybe like, I don't know, above Renee or something. Let's see for now. Maybe we come to a different consensus later.
I'll just throw him here. It'll look different in some later footage because again, re-recording. But trust me, this is where we end up putting Rochelle in the end. After some thinking.
Okay, fine. Yes, I was gonna drop Rochelle to the bottom of S, but I wanted for Mecha's recording to look nice.
It will never look nice. QQ. It will never look nice. I mean, Sierra is very good because she's a witch and she can teleport around the place and kill everything. And she can join at like 2 different times, which I thought at first wasn't really a big deal, but apparently it is. And the more maps you can skip with her, the better. I feel like she just saves you a warp action sometimes because you don't have to physically warp her, so you can like put her on the route that Renee is not on and make use of that. But there's like all kinds of applications both for LTC and non-LTC playthroughs for a unit that can just teleport and attack things. I do feel like she has a bit of a training arc to her. Like, she is kind of made of glass when you first get her, so you can't just like teleport into the middle of a bunch of enemies and watch them all die. You do have to like invest some things, but she's also like so goated at getting resources and making good use of them, like stuff like I remember using Nosferatu with her, or Sylphie to avoid a counterattack from something, or to kill Julius with her, or whatever. Like, there's this, it's just like every resource you have increases in value when you give it to her, is the feeling I get with Sierra. It's so insanely broken. At first I was like, I can't put this in S because of availability, but again, because of how big the impact is on her on the late game maps that she's in, and because of how long the late game maps can get if you don't have these kind of units like her and like Renee, I feel like her stay in S is warranted, even though at first I was getting like Pence-like vibes, you know, where he's like just not around enough. But Sierra's impact is so massive that I couldn't get her out of S. So I don't know if she's the 3rd best, but I feel like she's definitely good enough for S tier, right?
Yeah, I found it funny that you say, oh, you can't warp her into the middle of enemies and kill everything. 2 out of 3 Holmes route maps that you get her on involve warping her in the middle of everything and killing everything. So yeah. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to get a Gaiden Witch? Well, here is a Gaiden Witch, but on steroids.
But you can't turn wheel to undo it.
Yes, you can. Yes, the enemy cannot in fact turn wheel. They may attempt to warp skip you, but they cannot turn wheel you. Sierra, you were definitely correct that investment on her pays off. Specifically, 1 magic and 1 speed potion definitely goes a long way on her. As I mentioned, enemies can actually track the Nosferatu effect. However, the leather shield strat comes in again.
Let me give myself more defense so the enemies are more likely to target me.
Again, like they see that, oh, Nosferatu is just gonna full heal her. There is no point in me attacking. But if you have a leather shield, oh, I inflict monetary damage. Amazing. My life has purpose now. I will now Kermit Sudoku.
I feel that is smart AI though, because otherwise you could use shields to stop enemies from attacking you at all.
Yeah. Actually, that can happen in Berwick, ironically enough. But it's more specific. But yeah, it's either, Nosferatu defense, after the village of swordsmen, you can give her advantage Sophie, and then the enemies don't even bother attacking her on enemy phase. You could say this is a negative, however, being invulnerable basically, it has more benefits than it hurts. Because sure, you're not enemy phasing, but you're also not getting targeted by anything.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like no chance of missing. The only chance you'll die is via, for example, map attacks or something like that.
Like ballistas and stuff. And
ballistas and, for example, like the AoE magic.
Mm-hmm. You also gave her like the skills from the Yoda Islands, like the boss,
I only give her advantage, really.
Oh.
If you want it to be funny, you could give her Raph, I suppose, but I don't think that even matters. Advantage is enough.
Mm-hmm.
Do others if you want.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if Master can proc with tomes.
Yeah, I did Draco, I think.
Does that even work? Does that work?
I don't know. I just did it.
Exactly. But like, even if you're not enemy facing with Sierra, she can always just warp in and kill the boss, for example.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, one of the boat maps can just be cheesed instantly by just warping her and killing the boss immediately. Again, so Nosferatu, like just Sophie, high magic, spec towards offense, advantage Sophie. Yeah, she's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
She misses a lot, but again, as you mentioned, she definitely gets a lot of contributions. So I would say like above Renee, because I would say that she's around for more, and I would actually say that while Renee obviously like clears maps on her own, Sierra usually gets sent to like the to Runen route, which is probably the harder one.
Yeah,
and actually a valuable boss killer there as well. So there is that.
Yeah, I want to say they both have similar impacts on late game maps, but Renee needs another person to have that impact. Well, Sierra does, then is around for more. So I think above Renee makes some sense.
Sierra has two effectively free more maps over her, so of trivializing. So yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, Plum time. War crimes, kidnapping, fun stuff. You know, just a nice uplifting tearing Saga video for everyone. Kaga moments. I feel like Plum's significance before she can become a dancer is fairly limited. I remember you can like do some healing with her, but if I recall, I don't think she can physic at base, right? It even takes a while before you even get a physic, right?
Yeah. I don't think she can physic at base. You need 6 mastery for that, and I believe Ante barely has enough.
Yeah. So I think her impact for me was like healing and maybe a safe staff every now and that's about it. Like I'm comparing it to the other unit that can become a dancer in the series, which is Lara from Thracia, and Lara feels a lot more relevant before that because you can like capture baits and steal vulneraries and dorkies and stuff like that, which is minor, but it's still there. And she still picks locks in a couple chapters, which is good. Whereas Plum is just like kind of not good at all for a while. And then she becomes a dancer, and dancing is like obviously it's really good. I do think it's worse dancing than, for example, GBA dancing or Tellius dancing or AoE dancing for several reasons. For one, you can't really move Plum around very well. Like you can't rescue drop her or shove her or anything like that. So I feel like you only really get mileage out of Plum if you have someone else who doesn't need to move a whole lot to do their thing, like Muriel's Aura Rain or some other kind of AoE long range attacks, or you give someone like +5 move on turn 1, basically. That's about the limit of what I usually got out of Plum. But if you play a little bit slowly, I'm sure you get like a lot more out of her. But that also means you're playing a bit slowly, which makes it less relevant for tier lists, I feel like. So I was getting a lot of use out of Plum because everyone kind of moved at her pace. But I think if you're going at a faster pace, that kind of limits what she can do. But there are also a lot of things that you can make her do that seem relevant in LTC, like the Aura Rain stuff. So I'm not sure where that leaves her exactly. But I did want to mention that in some ways, Plum feels a bit more limited than like Ninian or Larum or Raze and stuff like that. Do you agree?
I don't know about Ninian because like what are the main things you use Ninian for besides dancing? That would be defense and that would be offense with.
I just think.
And one thing you forgot to mention is that she does have an ensorcel.
Oh, true.
And armor. Excuse me.
Oh, an armor is real. Yeah, you're right.
An armor. If you pick Lee at the first Verge pick, an armor gives her that early utility because
True.
Yes, she cannot use physic at base, so she's basically a heal bot. But with an armor, you can For example, in Chapter 3, you can have, for example, Rafen tank the initial squad with an armor. Chapter 9, you can also just run like on the top part, you can just have Plum there, like I don't know, an armor like Zeke or something, and just run him in there and watch him clean up. And after that, well, she still keeps the an armor, so it's like with Ninja's Grace, where sometimes the defense boost can be worth sacrificing a dance over.
Mm-hmm.
As well, there it's 10 defense and resistance. Here it's half damage taken.
Yeah, honestly, they both kind of make units invincible at times. Like, I feel like an armor, if you use it like a good unit like Zeke, then they just become invincible. Like, you can reliably clear an entire squad. And if you use it on someone that you're training that's like kind of bad, you make them more viable for enemy phase. So win-win.
Like, for example, you can make even like somewhat, well, 0% Runen even in Chapter 9, for example, with an armor he can actually like do pretty well. And then she becomes a dancer. Well, you mentioned that dancing doesn't do anything. Silly Mecha simply dance for 151 dances, and then she has an extremely small chance of applying an armor and Sourceful and Empower.
So 151 times is what you said? Easy.
Well, it caps at 250, by the way. So. So you know, when you get plumbed, obviously the optimal answer is to just go gambling for the 200,000 gold in blood and have her dance 250 times. Come on, Mecha, it's that simple.
I should have known. How did I not? My bad. My bad.
Bro,
this is why I'll never be a tier S pro gamer.
Exactly. Okay. On a more serious note, the dancing is more limited because the unit it's stuck on has relatively low-ish movement.
Mm-hmm.
However, I mean it's still a dancer, so
yes.
You know, still S because Lamau second movement. As for where I would put her, probably between between Renee and Rochelle.
Wow, genius position. I love it. Seems fine with me. I do feel like she's definitely worse than like these units. I feel like for sure, and then this you could probably debate, but this feels fine to me. Seems good.
Yeah. Outstanding move.
Outstanding move, yes. Alright, Zegarinos, because we're done with Plum, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Zeke, one of my favorite unit concepts in this game. I love the idea of a unit that just freaking betrays you at some point. And even if you know it, you still want to use him because he's just that good. Like I said in my tier S intro video from a while ago, I was like, yeah, he's so good that it feels wrong to use him. Like there's no way you get a unit this good and there's no like price to pay. And the price is just he leaves at some point and fights you. But I mean, since a capped Zeke is still killable for you, and since a Zeke early game is so much better than everyone else, why would you just not use him? He's so stupidly strong. I think it's like we call Rafen like fine early game, like not great but fine, and he just becomes good. And Zeke is just like insane. You can still get mileage out of like an armoring him, I guess, like you said, because he doesn't. There are ways to kill him in the early game. Some enemies have like anti-horse weapons, but God, like Adept, Paragon, Wrath, all that shit is so good. Even indoors, he works well. I like how he takes no drain penalties from like forest or less than other units, I think. So like even in the forest den where you have like 50,000 ballistas firing at you and you're like about to crawl through forest, Zeke is like, I don't see no forests. All I see is my horse and its hooves just kind of run over trees like that and just bonks everyone. Stupidly broken unit. I'm not sure if he deserves to be exactly here because he does have the obvious drawback of leaving at some point and he's gonna miss some maps that are important. But I guess he gets like a lot of maps that we feel are important, like the Fort Bolt, I think is the one with the ballistas.
Yes, exactly.
So
yeah, for a big forest, ballistas, Barbarossa.
Yeah. So he participates in enough good maps that he can be S tier, and I think the only question is again where exactly do we put him, but we don't really care enough about exactly where he goes. But we can talk about this, right?
I have a very simple answer for him. He stays exactly where he is right now.
Okay, spicy. I like it.
Spicy. Okay, so he joins like again Chapter 5. Which is probably one of his worst showings because it's an indoor map.
Yeah,
but
that's why I almost killed him.
Who is the generic unit you speak of? But yeah, he just has like Wrath, Paragon, Nihil, I believe. Yeah, Nihil, Frontiersman, I think.
Sounds about right.
And then his horse has 7 movement, not 8. He just doesn't take terrain penalties. So, well, he takes some, but like barely.
Terrain penalties, you mean terrain suggestions?
Terrain suggestion, yes. All terrain Zeke. And then like he can just embrace the short spear saga after chapter 7. Because well, his mastery is insane. Bro has actually awakening tier growths in tiering, so yeah.
In a game where most units have like FE6 or like FE1 growth.
Bro was playing 4D chess while they were playing checkers. And then like again with Raf, he can just stack insane crit. Like I mentioned an armor in chapter 9, but the time that will ever become relevant is if you send him literally against the entire map.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a chance to die. It's worth noting, it's not even a guarantee that he will die. No, he just has a chance.
Yeah, I remember chancing that too, because I was like, well, I can either... Like, there was like a particular enemy with like a poleaxe or something. I was like, well, Zeke can survive this, and then if they do hit him, he gets wrath on like everything that attacks him afterwards, and still has to get up by like 3 more guys to die. Let's do it.
Exactly. He's sort of like the inverse of Rochelle, but the value of that being that in the early game means that you don't have quite as many options yet.
Mm-hmm.
So him being there is more relevant, and as such, I would actually like stick him where he is because he's just insane for that portion of the game he's in.
Well, you said put him where he is. Consider it done. Okay, Vega, I'm gonna call him Shiva at least once during his recording, I'm sure. Because he looks exactly the same. There's even a ROM hack that references it. He's the exact same person. Vega is so funny. In the intro video to Tiering Saga, I call him like... I said his weapon is like Julius because it halves damage taken. That's not really how it works, but it still makes it basically nearly invincible when he has it. Like, having like 3 damage to 1 is just like going from being a leveled up Lowen to like awesome. Basically, it's so stupid how much it increases your durability. And I think it even works from range, so it doesn't even consume uses all the time. So that makes it even funnier.
Yes, it works. It's just Shram's halving damage works just when he has it equipped.
Yeah.
And it has 60 uses.
Yeah, I used it like very liberally too whenever I felt like it, because again, the early game you don't have that many options. It's kind of rare for me to put a foot sword locked unit in S tier in Fire Emblem games, but this has to be one of the better games to be one in, especially when you have an outstanding weapon like this. But he still has like all those good qualities about Myrmidons that work. Like he has enough speed to double almost everything, and I think between the strength, which is kind of like fine, and then the Shram has enough might to get by and you get a bunch of good swords. So the usual problem of like Myrmidons not having enough strength doesn't really apply to him, and the durability is fixed by his personal weapon. So he's really just like the perfect combat unit. It feels like the only thing he's lacking is that he's not the 3 units above him. It feels like, and even those have flaws that he can kind of compensate for sometimes. He's just really funny.
Where the other ones are masters of outdoor combat, he's the master of indoor combat. And again, like not having horse movement, being footlocked is not as much of an issue in tiering, just because indoor maps exist and terrain that penalizes horses. Shram is ridiculous. Who approved this? Kaga be like, balance is my passion. Here's a way better Myrmidon like 2 chapters later. He can use either like the Killing Edge with 2 mastery level ups. He can use the Brave Sword if you get that. Again, just indoors. Did you know that Shram is monster effective? So like, bro, absolutely like destroys Mogul Cave.
I feel like Kaga just put like monster effective on every other weapon. He just felt like it.
Bro has monsters. Also monsters. Just get destroyed. I don't know what there is. I don't know what much there is to say. Bro just like destroys. He's better than Shigen definitely, because Shram, while Dullahan revives Shigen, so it's technically the better survivability option. That weapon has hit rate and weight issues. Mm-hmm. Shram weighs 2.
That's true.
in a game that doesn't have a way to reduce the weight.
Yeah, no penalty production stat like con or build or whatever.
Yeah, so bro is just insanely fast with it. I mean, okay, it like tanks his score, I suppose. It inflates his score
Oh yeah, lower XP gain when I'm killing everything.
Or XP gain, except there is also a minimum of 20 on kill. So.
Oh wait, is there? Wow.
Yeah.
Awakening veteran is nothing on this.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, he's just like one of your. He's probably just your best indoor unit.
Yeah.
To have access to.
It can be that simple sometimes, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So he just stays where he is.
Yep, he stays where he is.
Sometimes life is just that easy.
It's that Shrimple.
Okay. Well, S for Shrimple. So that's the S tier wrapped up. I guess we can go through the 3A tier. That's Martel and Sasha. Are these like worth discussing separately?
We can discuss them somewhat together. Just noting the training period of Sasha.
Yeah, because Sasha doesn't start as a Pegasus Knight, while Martel just joins as one. And I guess, yeah, I remember when I first played, Arisa was telling me, like, hey, this is a game where having a flyer every now and then just really pays off, so it's worth raising them a little bit. And I definitely felt that throughout the playthrough. There was a lot of maps where they weren't really doing anything, like especially indoor maps, but generally flying does work out in maps that have a lot of heavy terrain, and there are definitely a lot of those. I felt their combat was a little lacking, especially Martel's. I don't know what the optimal way is to use Sasha, because I know that the way I use her, which is just don't use her and then she promotes to Pegasus and then you start using her, is not the only way to utilize her. Whereas with Martel, you just deal with the fact that she's a Pegasus Knight and go around. I do believe that Martel has Canto at base, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
She does.
So that was really nice. That makes raising her a lot easier. There weren't enough bows for me to feel like she's bad, but there were definitely maps where bows kind of restrict what she could do, like usually with flyers. But I don't know, they felt fine. I don't know, they look a bit out of place in the tier with still a lot of units that seem really good at combat, but I can see flying being good enough to compensate for it. But I don't remember exactly how much they did compared to how little their combat mattered, so feel free to enlighten me.
Okay, so in light of this, before I talk about the Sasha early game, I need to address the combat point. Have you heard of Levin Swords?
Ah, yes, Levin Sword, good time. I mean, that's not immediately though. That took a lot of mastery grinding, a fair bit.
Okay, so the real way to use them is to give each a mastery potion. Sasha is one mastery level up and a mastery potion away from 11 sword, while Martel is just one mastery potion away from 11 sword. This is probably the best way to use them. Just give them a mastery potion and use 11 swords. They're buyable in the Chapter 9 secret shop, which is fairly telegraphed, and even if not, you do get some free 11 swords. They're just really good because magic, because like the fact that they have 6 Pegasi mounted have 6 magic is just really good for the fact that enemies always have like shields. They have pretty decent defense in tiering, but they have no magic basically, unless it's a mage, and even then, because resistance is magic divided by 2.
Sorry, the way resistance is magic sound like friendship is magic. Go on.
Yeah, friendship is magic, and Sorcel is resistance. Yes. And then you just like, for example, if you hit 18 attack on a Pegasus, then you round one with 11 sword, then you one around basically everything. And that's not even particularly hard, as I recall. Now, as for Sasha's early game, probably the best way to approach it is just to not bother until Chapter 8.
I did it! I used her optimally! Don't use the shitty unit.
Yeah, they'll do the shit unit.
Because you get what you get Paragon by raising her. Is that right?
Yes, you get Vantage and Is it Adept or Vantage? I believe it's Vantage. You get Vantage and Paragon by training her as a low tier unit. Before promoting to Pegasus. Chapter 8, in the bottom right, there is a bunch of zombies and entombed spawning. And they're so bad to the point where like her stacked up with like an S-stocks, healing, shields, etc. is enough to handle them.
I think that's what I did to train her or Martel. I forgot which.
Yeah, even baseline. I mean, you can say, okay, why not give that investment to other units? But she definitely benefits the most because, again, flyer. You would benefit from sending them on different paths. Definitely.
Yes.
Have 11 peg on either route. Especially relevant for example, on something like Fort Bolt.
I remember one issue I had with their combat, I just remembered, is that they had poor hit rates with 11 sword. Like, I would just miss a lot, but maybe I was just getting unlucky a little bit, and their hit rates are much worse than everyone else's.
It does have 65 hit for what it's worth, but I would say that it's worth the effort.
Yeah, it's worth putting up with. It's just a drawback that I felt was important to mention.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
They can promote to Wyverns, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Well, okay, then maybe promote Sasha to a Wyvern once chapter 37 hits, because you might need to drag her through an indoor map unmounted, and then she doesn't have magic anyway. So you might as well promote her.
Can they not use Levin? Oh, they don't have the magic stats. That's right. Yeah,
They can use Levin, but you lose 6 magic.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot.
Higher HP, so at that point you're just better off going physical.
I love it when I lose my entire reason for existence, just for going indoors.
Yes.
So, are they in the right place then?
Yes, they're in the correct place. Martel above Sasha is, and them being at the top of A is good. As you mentioned, their combat has problems, but like Martel early on, even with physical, is perfectly fine, even on 0%. And then just later on with 11 swords, it's just great.
Okay, works for me. So Shean man Den. I mean, I liked him a lot, obviously, because I trained him. He was probably one of my carries for Holmes routes. It's funny that he's forced there, just to make sure that you have not just the shitty units there. And then, I mean, like we said, the Dullahan revives you. It has issues. The 50 hit, I think, is what it has at base. Is like stupidly low, especially for a sword. But I felt like Shean still hit often enough to where it was worth equipping every now and then, because the might is pretty good. But I definitely see where the problems are coming from, and I definitely agree that he's at least a tier below Vega. And generally, just a unit that cannot die is so fun to use. Like stuff like FE6 Murnus and Phantoms from FE8. They can technically die, but they come back, which is basically what Shean does, right? That's just very abusable, even in an easy map. There's just funny stuff you can do with that. And even the fact that even if he does die, it has utility is very funny to me. Obviously,
dying is utility.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna count
recruits, because like Kaga decided, okay, this unit has a self-reviving sword. How do you recruit? So how do you recruit the switch early? Oh, you have that unit die permanently.
That's just funny. That's just good design. I can't make it any. I don't make the rules. This is just funny. This is good. But yeah, I used him like all the way through, and I killed him when I had to, because someone told me in the comments. So I did get Sierra early, but I did get a lot of mileage out of Shean. I thought it was very, very good. Stats just kind of hold up well, and I mean, he's forced on like an easier route, I guess, but he's still so good within it that I don't really think it's worth penalizing him for. Just the fact that the Dullahan is not as good as Vegas, but then again, that's why he's the tier below Vegas. He's good.
It's a combination of Dullahan and the fact that he joins later than Vega, so
yeah.
His stats will be overall like slightly lower. I believe he only has like a 1 speed advantage, and their base strength is actually equal. I might be wrong on this, but whatever. Rengo spreading misinformation. What's new?
It's close.
But it's close, yeah. And then the more important, like as you mentioned, the route split thing. But like he's just really good. And the self-revive is admittedly like very good as well, because you can bait out some particularly nasty attacks, and he revives to full HP, so that's also worth noting. He doesn't like revive to 1 HP, no, he just full heals.
Yeah, true. I remember I think I used him to distract Cranion.
Yep. Like, that's a great use. By the way, if you're like playing tiering, you know what's going on, and you want like maximum use out of Shean, but you also want early Sierra, you can sacrifice them in chapter 23. That map has a bit of waiting to get Bod to Rochelle.
That's where I did it, I think.
Yeah. The next map is just a Gargoyle skirmish, and then he comes back.
I checked, by the way, and their strength difference is literally 1 at base with the same growth, but Shean is 3 levels higher.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so is he fine here then?
Yes, he is where he should be.
Yeah, I guess it can technically depend on where the other guys go, but I guess below the Pegasi is the most important part for now. Okay. Holmes? I wasn't really sure where to put Holmes. I think he's very good at fighting stuff. There wasn't much of a time where he wasn't doing combat where his combat wasn't one of the better performing ones, because he is fast enough to double most of the time. He gets some good bows. I remember getting the Brave Bow at one point and some kind of chuku nuku, whatever it's called, weapons to kill stuff with, or like other random like the I don't know, can use swords after promotion too. Like I never thought his combat was bad. It's just a matter of how bad is it that this guy is kind of forced around the map in a Marth-like way. Like sometimes he gets chests or sees a throne, and B, bow problems, enemy phase based game where you want to counterattack stuff, but you're a bow user. What do? There are some maps, I think, like that map where you get Samson, where that isn't really a thing that hurts him. In fact, it helps him that he's more of a ranged attacker. But most maps, I think it would be better if you could at least use some kind of melee weapon. And so I think it's worth penalizing for him for that, but I'm not sure exactly by how much, because I don't want to say he's Radiant Dawn Shean, but his stats are pretty damn good. So I think A tier makes some level of sense, but just not sure where exactly.
Yeah, A tier is where he should. A tier is where he should be. As for like, again, he's also, remember, he's also a lord and he has lock touch. Sometimes he's forced into situations where he's just forced to run somewhere without being able to really shoot at enemies. But for what he has, again, as you mentioned, Chukunu is nice. Even earlier on, you can also buy the rapid crossbow if you want. Brave bow exists, and then he just has good ranged combat. He's not Radiant Dawn Shean because RD Shean also has bulk, but he's still really, really good.
I guess the other question is maybe like a lot of other units can one round as well, so it might not be as important for him to be, or it might not be as significant that he one rounds if other people do it as well.
Yeah, but I would say that for Holmes split 1, he's definitely like in the upper tier of...
Yeah, he stands out there.
Yeah.
Just like Radiant Dawn Shean, who also stands out early on and then just kind of, oh, he won round. Well, so does everyone else.
I have a newfound appreciation for RD Shean after the 0% run.
Fair.
So you're talking to probably one of the biggest Shean fans in the universe. But again, even then, like he's like Holmes specific. Holmes is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Even in 0%, like you feed him a strength potion and he one rounds the chapter 38 boss with the Chukunu.
Is that the one where he has to be at the seize point anyway? So he's just
yes. So you just warp into the seize point, shoot the boss, kill him in one round, and end the chapter. Easy. It's multi-track drifting.
Wait, so does it end the chapter once you kill the boss then?
Yes, it instantly ends the chapter if you kill the boss.
Okay.
Like, and he's at that point, so yeah.
Oh.
Where I would put him? Again, the lack of one range for a lot of the game does hurt him, I would say. I would put him like between Lyria and Raphael.
Seems good.
Because like he has an availability advantage over those three, but the firmer ones are either better combat or support units.
Yeah, Lyria seems like a very special case that we just have to discuss separately, and I mean we're going over the rest of here, but
yeah, and for example Mel, and they just rely on their personal save basically. But yeah, we'll get there.
Yes, seems good. All right, Lee, I did pick him early, so I was a
perish.
Okay, bye. He's obviously I thought he was good. I think it would be very hard to come away from things here in Saga and picking early Lee and not thinking he is very good. Obviously, Naron is a better early pick because of the ability for him to function like much better, whereas Lee is kind of similar on both, but I can't imagine Lee is a bad pick either way. Physic utility is very nice to have early on, just to save more fragile units early on, or like growth projects that need to get help to get going. His offense seems very good. I know that he's early. I think he joins with fire, which is not ideal, but it works for while he's there. I remember him being very good at like killing early bosses, which is very stupid because he's just an old man with like a bald patch on his head. But he's
the only unit in all of tiering that doesn't get skills.
Oh, that's funny. I was thought you were about to say that he's the only unit who can both use magic and use stabs, but that works too. Yes.
Well, yes, that too. But I thought it would be funny to mention that Bro just does not get skills.
Yeah, Bro has no skill.
And his growth survival FE1 Jagan.
Doesn't matter. He's good at base. He has utility. I think I used him on every single map he was available for. He's just that good.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I mean, even outdoors, he honestly keeps up. Picking him early gives Plum the an armor staff, and then between Lee himself and an armor, they actually combine to honestly pretty similar performance to Naron, just in a different way. Because with Naron, you're concentrating into one unit, which I mean, this is Fire Emblem we're talking about here, so this isn't exactly a bad thing.
It's
But
an absolute unit.
Yeah, it's an absolute unit, for sure. But like with an armor and Lee himself, you get the ability to be in more places basically at once with basically what are either copies of Naron or like pretty close to it. Like you can put more development into, for example, other units, and you can substitute Naron pretty easily with that. He has magic and staves. It's worth noting that he's working under like the Radiant Dawn rules, where if you use a staff, it goes to the top of your inventory. So you would have to trade to re-equip. Fire that he joins with is not particularly a great spell, but he can upgrade to Wind soon enough, courtesy of Narouge, and then an enemy in, I believe, Chapter 7 drops a Thunder Tome, and Thunder Tome is probably the best basic one. And then he just goes to town because, again, enemies have no res, so he just destroys them. And he's fat. He's like... Kaga thought, okay, FE1 Wendell, but again...
I kind of like that Wendell thing, let's do it again. And so Lee attacked again and killed the enemy.
So somehow Lee returned. When you pick him later, you'll miss on an armor. He's a choice between him or Leono, who we'll talk about later. But even then, he's still great because it turns out being the only unit with magic and staves is still useful. Just slightly, less useful than if you picked him early. I would say that he should stay where he is.
He feels like fairly easily better than most of the units I see right below him, so no protest here. Like, most of the units here, like, maybe you could argue are better at combat at some point, but not even really like that. Like, especially early on, Lee's combat is so strong that it compares to the late game performance of some of these units.
Yep.
Seems good. Like, I don't think he's better than Shigen, don't get me wrong, but I think he's fine where he is then.
You could argue availability, but it's like it's close enough to a point where I just don't mind giving Shigen's Limao reviving the edge.
Yeah,
because that's insanely strong as well.
I agree. All right, time to time travel.
Whoosh. Let's get to a unit that's not where he should be.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is... I showed the list to Aggro, he's like, yeah, that's a spicy hot take. Now, I will defend myself by saying this is purely projection of how good I think this guy is, but I didn't really use him, like, long-term. I just used him as a unit that I used him early game for when I don't have a choice, and then I sent him on Holmes as a fillery unit that I didn't really care about. Like, I sent him with the idea I can train him if I want to, because I know on Holmes I can grind, and also... I want to keep my good combat units on Runen, so I didn't think that highly of him. And then he does have Wonder Gust, which is basically Graph Caliber. I don't remember if it's fire effective, but it's super good otherwise. And he has like a million uses of it, and he can also use Sylpheed if you want him to. But I do know that he's not the best unit ever. I'm assuming he has durability issues when trained, and maybe he doesn't double something. I don't know. But I didn't use his units. I just know that he has a good personal tome, and he joins early enough to be trained. But I do know there's like arguments for him versus Alicia, and Alicia's like a tier lower. So if I have to lower him, I will. I just don't know a whole lot about this unit, but maybe you can tell me.
Alright, so here's the thing about TRS mages. Every single mage you get, they get progressively stronger PRFs, which by definition means that he gets the worst one. Wundergust is 10 might, 100 hit, 20 crit, 5 weight. That's good, but you also compete with Dire Thunder. Well, Starlight is debatable, but Aura Rain is insane. And the thing about him is that he doesn't really have that high like stats. 6 magic, 7 speed, 7 mastery, 20 HP, 3 defense. He just doesn't really have much. It's not that like Sylpheed isn't locked to him. Sylpheed can be used by anyone that has wind rank in this game, basically. That's how easy to access it is. And Wundergust isn't effective against anything. It's a good filler tome, again, but for investment, he doesn't really even benefit you that much because he's standard mage movement. He doesn't have the +1 like Rochelle, And for skills, he gets Adept at level 19 Mage, Soul level 20 Sage, and Flurry at level 49, which is basically unobtainable. So like you don't even get skills for him. So he's just like generic mage, as close as you can get to one here, I suppose. He's definitely a unit that should drop to like okay tier. He's not below average, I would say. He still benefits you in the late like prologue, I would say, like chapters between chapters 5 to 8. And then early on in Holmes route, when you don't have as many units, but his value definitely drops off. Like he doubles like really slow enemies, but otherwise,
Yeah, I was
like,
gonna say, if his
not
speed is okay,
strong.
it doesn't matter that much, right? Because he just hits on res with a like massive might tome. But if he doesn't
Yeah,
double, that's a problem.
Yeah, but like 5 weight and 7 speed isn't exactly the threshold where he doubles consistently.
Yeah, he doesn't have Asbel speed growth, fortunately. He has like everything else ripped off of Asbel, but that.
35% speed growth, so yeah.
Yeah, kind of cringe. Okay, so I'll just put him like below Muriel and like around the other mages, basically.
For now, yeah, below Alicia.
Sure, I'm down.
For now, anyway.
All right. How much more weight can you handle, Rengor?
I can handle the weight.
You can handle the weight of Yoda. All sorts. All proc skills I can use. Yeah, late game boss killer is basically what I thought of Yoda, and that seems to be correct-ish. Although I did not notice during my playthrough, or rather I forgot to take into account that Yoda does have a million proc skills like Draco and like Adept and whatever, but apparently those don't work on enemies with Nihil, which I completely forgot when I was fighting Ernst. So apologies for that part, but I still think he's really good at boss killing. Like you said earlier, he can kill was it like map 31 Zeke, which is nice, and then a couple of other bosses as well. Like just really good offense unit and enough bulk to survive like an enemy phase here and there. So the main issue with him, the main flaw he has is that he isn't around a whole lot, but he's pretty good when he is around. Like I said, I want to put those units up high because tiering Saga kind of slashes all your availability in half anyway due to the route split system, and the units you do have that are really good kind of stand out in a way, and I think Yoda definitely stands out more than a lot of the units that I have below him right now. So I don't know if he's like perfect where he is, but I feel like if units like Sierra and Zeke and Rochelle are S, then I think it intuitively makes sense to put a really good boss killer / just Juggernaut unit in A tier, even if he's not around for the whole game. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Again, I already mentioned the Holmes, Renee, Yoda meta, where you just send the 3 of them on Holmes route and they solo everything. What I didn't mention is that Yoda is a pivotal unit to the boss kills in that route. You give him Recruit from Lenstimer, and then he just spins. He spins that sword, and the enemies die. He's pivotal to the boss kills of 31, 32, and 34, which is Zeke, the Swamp, and the Fire Temple. And then for endgame, Renee gets a pass on being able to warp him anywhere to deploy him to the action. I would say, yeah, he's where he should be. While early game is of course important, it's also nice to have a really just amazing late game unit. And as I mentioned, unless your Zeke is extremely defense and HP blessed, or you just got him that many levels, he can one-round him without any assistance. Or if he really is that stacked, then he can still do it. Just he needs either to chip damage from Holmes from range, or empower, and that's it. Otherwise, he just lives.
Can't he use the Luna Sword? Or is that's not Holmes only, is it?
No, Luna Sword is for anyone. The reason I mentioned Recruit is that Luna Sword is actually better on Runen route, whereas Recruit allows Yoda to kill the stuff he needs to. Like, for example, it also gives res, which is nice for 42, where Yoda needs to survive an enemy phase. Yeah, but like with just 2 crits, he can kill Zeke, either with Empower or without it if he's not insanely leveled.
Yeah, and Lakuta's 80 crit, so it seems pretty easy there.
Yeah. And again, you can survive even a max strength Zeke. Like, even if you were to proc Adept, there is like a strat you can do if you put a steel shield on him.
Yeah.
Then...
And like, we're talking about Zeke a whole lot as if he's the only thing in the world, but there's not that many maps left when Yoda joins, and this is a pretty tough boss kill for some other people, so I think it makes sense to emphasize this one, because the other bosses just crumble to him, so... Or rather, I mean, I guess Ernst doesn't, but...
The 34 one, the 33 one is annoying, the Fire Temple one. Ernst, again, I mentioned that I would like... I usually put them on Holmes route, but on running route, if you have the Luna Sword, then yeah, you can just kill Zeke, Ernst that way.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, so guessing Yoda's staying then?
Yeah, Yoda can stay.
Alright. I guess my first attempt wasn't the most horrible one after all. Anyway, Raquel, looking at her now, it feels like she's a bit high because she does have obvious limitations. All the bow problems we mentioned for Holmes, and the fact that she can't kill people, it helps. She takes a vow not to kill people early on, or not killing humans, I should say, which is great for setting up kills for other people, but it becomes a liability when you actually just want her to kill someone, which definitely happens in the Fire Emblem game sometimes. But I do really like her, like the way this is designed, and I do really like how she enables you to train frailer units. Like, I don't know if Naron needs more XP, or if, if your Pegasus Knight needs some XP, she can do all that. She can also just kill monsters just fine. I believe she's very adept at killing moguls in particular, in the Mogul Cave. She can use a longbow to help with that. I found her very helpful for that. But I barely deployed her past that point. I'm not remember what the last time is I made good use of Raquel, but there was definitely a point where I just stopped using her. So I'm kind of tempted to move her down a bit, but I still think she's better than okay. I still think I would put her in good. But I don't... In hindsight, I want to say that someone like Rebecca, or maybe even the healer girls, Entei and Katri, have more of an impact. But that's probably more to do with where those are rated. Someone like... I think she's competitive with like the mounted units that are between Holmes and the staffers, like Raphael and Mintz right now. But maybe I'm like giving her not enough credit here. What do you think?
Remind me where you sent her on the first split?
Holmes.
Okay. Then yeah, she definitely helps more on Holmes because, as you mentioned, she can't kill human enemies, but monsters are free real estate.
Yeah, that's why I sent her there, because I knew there would be monsters there for some reason.
Yeah, exactly. And she does have Paragon to stay competitive, and eventually gets Slayer, which doesn't have effective damage, but it like boosts her statistics against monsters.
I think I got that during the Mogul Cave.
Oh, that's excellent. As you mentioned, she's just excellent against monsters and against human enemies. She's more than capable of just weakening them to 1 HP for anyone else to kill. Maybe she's a bit high, but I would still rate her in good, definitely, because this unit has insane offense in general. Like, yeah, sniper, but she just has really good stats. Has Paragon to stay competitive, even if she can't kill humans. She can kill monsters perfectly fine. Maybe she's not as relevant in Split 2, but in Split 3 there are situations where she would benefit you on Rune Route, definitely. Probably like 36, 37, and potentially 39.
What, is just monster maps?
Well, there are human enemies there, but they do feature monsters. 34, I'm not sure. 34 being the Ernst map. But yeah, again, you can definitely work around the fact that she can't kill human enemies. You can use that to chip enemies down, and the fact that like usually at that point, other than your like best units, like think about it this way: most units too are on KO, right? So the fact that she can't kill human enemies means that you're doing basically perfectly fine, and anyone else can finish that because low 1 HP.
Yeah, that's the reason I say she falls off a bit, is when other units do start one-running things.
Obviously, what you do is pick Luca first. I'm not sure if you know this.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
But go ahead anyway.
The funniest piece of utility. So you pick a unit, and what is my purpose? Dying.
You kill off Luca so that she gets so angry that she goes back on her vow to not kill people, and then she can start killing humans, I think is the idea. But that's like map, what, 20-something?
26A, after the end of it. So you only have it for split free. Yeah, maybe she can go a bit down, but I don't know, maybe like, I don't know, somewhere around Holmes maybe.
Yeah, I feel like she looks a bit high, but then I look at everyone else below her, and I'm like, yeah, those have like some pretty big flaws too. So I don't really care super much.
I don't know, maybe like slightly below Holmes.
Yeah, I'll just put her below Holmes for now. We'll see if it holds up.
Bro, I don't know.
Yeah, bro, I don't know. Like, I think the more you get towards the middle of a tier list, the harder it becomes to accurately tier units next to each other because the differences get so murky. Whereas with the best units, it's pretty obvious what they're good at and exactly how much it helps you.
I want to talk about. I want to, before we end this off, because I don't have much more to say about Raquel. I want to mention specifically what full recruitment constitutes in TRS, and how it's a bit slightly abusable. So first of all, Latina and Rebecca are mutually exclusive. So you get one or the other.
Well, yeah. So it's like Corel Harkin, right? So that doesn't change much by itself.
Yeah, you don't need to do the event, the ridiculously long event. But the requirement, like, what constitutes full recruitment is that there is a scene in the epilogue where Holmes and Ronan talk about, like, the history of, like, Utona and the gods specifically. And that scene only happens if you have recruited everyone. So what's abusable about this is that after endgame, if you have dead units, you get a scene where Holmes and Ronan talk to Bishop lady whose name I forgot.
I know who it is, but yeah, I don't remember her either.
Yeah, and you warp to the Tower of Morse, and you get one last chance to revive units. And so this can be funny because, for example, let's say you did Holmes route first, and then you did the Ronan route, and Luca died. You can still revive Luca after the end game and still get the full epilogue. This gets really funny if you want to bypass some events, like for example, do you want to not have to bother re-recruiting Kate in chapter 39? Just kill her off and don't revive her immediately. Can't defect if you're dead.
Oh no. That's awful. I'm assuming Zeke just retreats or something if you kill him.
Zeke just retreats. I'm not even sure if he counts for full recruitment. That's the thing.
Oh, that would be interesting. I know that in my playthrough, I think the only unit that I missed besides Latina because mutually exclusive is I think his name is Hagar, the tank.
Yeah, Hagar, the ballistician.
Yeah, I'm assuming he counts because I don't remember seeing that scene, but I'm not sure. Maybe I've seen it.
I think again, like this, you only get the scene if you get literally every character possible.
Damn.
With the the inclusion of Rebecca and Latina.
That's funny.
Exclusive, yeah.
All right, guess we'll round it out here. We got through a couple, but I remember from previous tier list videos that the first bit always takes the longest because the characters at the top seem to have the most things talked about. As we get through the middle, we get into units that are like training projects, but like you kind of shrug your shoulders at them, like why bother really? Well, if you like them, you can train them, I guess. And then you get to the worst units at the bottom, where it's like, God, okay, they're funny memes, but memes only take like a second to mention. I feel like.
I can give you all a spoiler. I actually do have a lot to talk about with like the lower tiers. Well, at least most of them. So there are some that I don't have much to talk about, but there are some that are definitely worthy of like discussion, like how mechanics affect, for example, the positioning of Arcus versus Kreis, or just in general like how TRS works. So yeah, look forward to that. Yeah,
basically enjoy like 4 more hours of tiering Saga. The way I remember Roger is that he was fairly good, not like invincible Jagan, super strong early on, but like just a nice unit you didn't have to train a whole lot. And that just kind of worked, and he had to support with Mel to keep himself a little bit better. And then on a route split, I sent him to Holmes split 1, which might not be ideal for him, but the idea was like, I can't have all the good units go to Runan, but I want the best units to go there, so that's where like Zeke went and Rafen, and so Roger got stuck in like Holmes babysitting route basically. and he wasn't like super good there. Obviously, some indoor maps that he got like kind of stuck in, and as the game goes on, he kind of fell off for me a bit. And looking back, I think having him next to Yoda makes him look really high, but at the same time, the rest of the A tier is all units that like have some kind of issue anyway. I'm not sure if Roger's issues are the worst, but if I would probably sooner move him down than up or keep him where he is probably where I'm at, but I'm not sure what I would do with this. So what is your take on Roger?
Okay, so first of all, you sending him to Holmes Split 1 is not a mistake.
Oh.
Roger and Mel have to go on the same route. If you try to split them up, they will just default to Runan routes together. And you need Mel on Holmes Split 1 to get Ensorcel.
Right, okay, so yeah,
so
okay.
That's optimal anyway.
For Mel. It's not exactly optimal for Roger, is it?
No, it's optimal for Mel, but it's also sort of optimal for Roger. The way it usually goes is that all the good cavalry go to Runan route because that route is more outdoors. And that leaves Holmes pretty dead in the water for good mounts. But so having just Roger there as a really solid paladin is just good. Like he just has really good stats. He unfortunately does not learn Canto naturally, but you can give him a Canto manual to have him learn. The first Canto manual should probably go to Roger, unless you're doing some really LTC stuff. He's just like really solid. I would say he definitely falls off by like split 3, but for splits 1 and 2, he definitely pulls in work. He's not maybe like amazing indoors, but for outdoors, he's very much appreciated. Like again, just because Holmes Art has more indoors stuff doesn't mean you can totally ignore the outdoors as well. And he does have some good stats, good skills. More importantly, it has the required 9 mastery, Vantage Provice, Mel support. He's just really good.
What is like an important skill in Roger? I don't have this unit memorized at all.
He has Vantage, Provice, Urbanite, and then at level 18, which you're probably not reaching, Raf.
Okay.
It's mostly just Vantage, Provice, Urbanite, having just a really good solid skill set. His growths are like 20% all around, so lol. He's not gonna grow, but his bases are solid enough to a point where he will just really benefit. The Mel support is not insignificant either, because if he's within 3 spaces of her, he gets 15 hit, avoid, critical, and critical avoid.
You start with like a maxed out support, it sounds like.
Yeah, again, it's just like they're married, so yeah, basically max support.
Yeah, because with other characters, if they have like a pre-existing relationship, you usually have to build that support up, right? It starts like at a little bit maybe, and it just goes up every time they have an event or something.
Yeah, it depends on the unit. Sometimes it's through events, yeah, but since they're married, they just get a really high support.
Yeah, so kind of like a predecessor to Pent Louise. So it sounds like you're actually in favor of him staying where he is then?
Yeah, I'm actually okay with him being where he is.
Okay, well, if there's anything weird coming up, we can always move people around him, but sure. I guess we can talk about Mel next. So I guess we already discussed where she goes on routes, and we kind of already hinted at what's like she's really good for, which is Ensorcel. She's the only one who can use it, right?
Yes, it's a PRF.
Yes. So that's +7 magic for the rest of the map for whoever she gives it to. And that's probably pretty solid for any mage that has trouble reaching a like 100 KO threshold, or for other things that high magic is used for. So that alone is just pretty good. Like even if Mel did absolutely nothing else, that would be solid utility. Probably comparable to like Plum using an armor, or what's her face doing like +10 with Empower. So that alone is pretty good. And on top of that, whatever healing utility she can provide as a healer with a mount, that's pretty cool. She seems really solid. I don't know how she compares to like other Fire Emblem troubadours, but for me she just seems really good. I didn't really use her a whole lot in the late game, but if I actively looked for more opportunities to use Ensorcel, I think I would have actually probably roughly put her here, which is why I think she should be right here. I don't know if it's really cool poetic justice for me to put her next to Roger. I'm actually not sure if she belongs right here or somewhere else, but I thought it was cool aesthetically, so I just kept her here. But I don't think it's a wrong place for her. What do you think?
No, it's perfectly fine. To touch on a bit of her other qualities, she starts with 6 mastery. This is important because Physic is 6 mastery, which means that she basically can use that. She has a meme 3% movement growth if you're interested, but her combat isn't going to be anything special. And same as Lee, If you use a staff, it goes to the top of your inventory. A funny thing, Ensorcel has 10 durability, but you can actually get 2 of them via a glitch. What you do is that when you go to visit the Temple of Mars, and you have both Mel and Marouge in your party, you have Mel have a maxed out inventory, but Marouge not. And what happens there is that for some reason this duplicates the Ensorcel staff.
That's so weird, because normally, is it like an event where Marouge gives it to Mel or something?
No, it's an event where the lady, Mel's mom, I believe,
I know
just gives it to her as a wedding gift.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, immediately follows an event where she also gives Sylphid to Marouge.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, if Mel's inventory is full, but Marouge's is not, then Ensorcel duplicates. It doesn't work if they're both filled, by the way.
That's cute. I like that. Yeah, I don't know.
So
I don't really have a
that's
super stance on like glitches, but I don't think it changes her tiering a whole lot, whether you have 10 or 20 Ensorcel uses anyway.
Yeah, it's just like you're just like more free to spam it without having to know specifically where you want it.
Mm-hmm.
And Sorcerer is just good for everything really. Want more Dire Thunder damage, and Sorcerer. Want more Sierra damage, and Sorcerer. Want your Pegasi to ORKO definitely for sure, and Sorcerer.
And hey, Aura Rain, plus like,
Aura Rain and Sorcerer, lol, yeah.
plus 7 damage on every enemy of the map. I think she would do more damage with that one Ensorcel than like a lot of the characters will do the entire game, probably, if you used an Aura Rain.
Probably, yeah.
Alright.
So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, we'll keep her where she is then. Again, if anything comes up where we want to move her, we can just move her somewhere else. But seems fine for now. Generally, we're keeping revisions until later. So some of the characters that we've already discussed as time went on, I think both of us were thinking like, hey, this character maybe needs to move a little bit. We're saving that for the end, because if we revise like characters right now, we're going to be stuck in an infinite loop of moving characters around without getting to, the fun part, which is talking about all the different units in tiering Saga.
Yes.
So, Samson, this might be the unit I have the least appropriate experience with, because this character died for me in his joining chapter, so he didn't do a whole lot in the game, but I did revive him in the Tower of Morse and then never deployed him again, so trust me, I know this character very well. But from what I can tell, I compared his bases to like Bart's after maybe a couple levels, and they were eerily similar. I know he gets a Brave Axe through an event, but I'm pretty sure that's not a PRF, so you can that doesn't really count for him personally. But from what I can tell, he's just like a solid indoor unit. I know axes are like super meme heavy in this game, and some of them have like really awful hit, but there's a couple that work fine, like the Killer Axe, I believe, on top of my head, and the Tomahawk or the Hatchet or whatever it's called. So there's some options for him where he can do fine indoors. I wasn't super impressed with Bart's, but I do have him a tier above him because I felt like he takes less work to get going. But maybe they should actually be more similar, because they maybe shouldn't be an entire tier apart, but I'm not sure whether they both belong in okay or in good. My instincts say maybe this guy should move down, but yeah, he seems solid, not bad or anything. What do you think?
I would say he definitely belongs where he is. The thing is that he also he has a free speed lead at base on Bart's, yeah, and he's just simpler to train because his joint chapter, when you don't get him killed, just involves him fighting a bunch of enemies for free EXP. And I believe even like combat EXP from afar counts as engaging in combat, so that's also a thing for his EXP gain. And then he just like grows really, really well. Like he's just a solid axe user that eventually gets a Brave Axe to go ham. Even in 0%, honestly, this guy is pretty good. I would say like he's actually pretty fine. He's a really good indoor unit for a part of the game where you want indoor units, and like he doesn't really have much of a specific weak point. Frontiersman is great because it also gives him mobility over the relevant terrain type, whereas Bart's only gets Mountaineer. Vantage at 14 is also nice. I would say this is probably a guy that was used as a template for Berwick Saga Dean, and it shows Berwick Saga Dean being probably one of the best units in that game. But like again, just axe unit that hits hard, doesn't really have a weakness, gets a Brave Axe, gets good skills. What more can you ask for?
Yeah, I guess. I don't really have a lot of experience with him. It just feels a bit weird to have him over. What's the Empower Girl name again?
Lyria.
Oh, Lyria, yeah. I'm not sure if he belongs over them, but that's like only a couple spots different, so it doesn't really matter all that much.
Yeah.
I think it's fine either way.
So it's fine.
Okay. I'll just keep him where he is. Damn, we're not moving a whole lot of characters today, man. What is this? What kind of review is this, man?
Not yet.
Not yet. All right. Lyria. I think this is one of the funniest Kaga characters in the game, just because, no, not because of the cutscenes, I hate those, but because of all the randomized events that happen whenever she sings to someone. So, as far as I understand, this is a unit that you just have sing to someone, and then there's like a super small chance that you have a global dance like the Again staff from FE3, which, I mean, you'd hate to have to rig for it, but if you don't rig for it, it just happens to be randomly. That's super hilarious. Other than that, it seems kind of useless. I think it boosts like random stats like luck most of the time. But the main event with Lyria, I feel like, is the Empower staff, which I think she gets almost right away as long as you fulfill the requirements for the event. And then you just have an option to just give someone plus 10 strength for the rest of the map, which is obviously incredible for any growth unit that you want to raise and make good, but they don't have the offense to contribute, or any unit that just needs to be pushed over 2 kill thresholds, but they're already doubling. I mean, I don't have to explain that plus 10 strength is a good thing, actually, so that seems pretty self-explanatory. It has enough uses to where you can use it, maybe not like every map on every character, but you can use it whenever you feel like it makes a difference. Again, if I plan these uses better, with like more knowledge about the game, like I would do if I played this game again, then I would definitely get like massive mileage out of this. So this seems like a super good character that I can honestly see moving up over the characters we previously discussed, or maybe even further, but maybe not a whole lot. I wouldn't put her in S tier, but I think she belongs in this A tier at the very least, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just off the utility of Empower alone, I mean, plus 10 strength, are you really gonna scoff at that for anyone? So, Sing is probably one of the most sane Kaga skills ever. Like, it's definitely, like, you think Kaga, and Kaga be like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna program this skill, and it's on par with, like getting the Angel Ring in Gaiden. It's like, it's like with dancing, where it's dependent on the number of times you sung, and then that also expands, like, I believe your level expands your radius of dancing. Yeah, it's level divided by 5 plus 1, maximum 4. And then refresh chance is sing amount divided by 50 plus 2 times received support divided by 5 plus 10.
Yeah, I'm still following. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I would definitely follow this if I weren't, just reading it off a bot that has this information. Because what is this? Sing is more like if you want to use some like meme strategies, like you would rig for just a Sing refresh. I remember in my Aura Rain, in my 0% Aura Rain video, I had to rig that to do 3 times Aura Rain in a single map.
Oh no.
But other than that, it's not that amazing. You can't, by the way, refresh Plum with Sing.
Okay.
That's it's just excluded.
Wait a minute, that's illegal.
No infinite train, yeah. Sadly.
Nah, that makes a lot of sense. So what I just said only applies if your Lyria has like insane amounts of XP on her, basically. If you
yeah, and then it would do a like 4 range thing, and even then it's not guaranteed to refresh everyone. It's not, again, you can rig it. I mean, the save step exists, lol.
Yeah, when you say 4 range, do you mean 4-way, like the FE4 dancers?
Yes, it's 4-way.
Yeah,
and
okay.
it just becomes like a diamond around her.
Yeah, so like an AoE dance. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Again, excludes Plum.
Yeah.
But it's mostly the Empower, really. I already mentioned, I believe, when talking about Zeke and Yoda, how sometimes he might need that. But in general, against any high stat bosses like Ernst or Julius, etc., it's just a really good thing to have. I mean, are you gonna really scoff at plus 10 damage to everything?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same. She doesn't have 9 mastery, does she? Or what is it? The physic mastery?
It's a 6 mastery.
Yeah,
no,
cool.
I believe she does not, actually, which is one of the things that... Yeah, she has 3 mastery and 15% growth, so she's basically stuck to heal staffs.
Yeah, lol, that's unfortunate. I guess you can still like heal if you're taking it slow. I was gonna
yeah,
say,
it's heal and Empower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can also heal with Sing.
Yeah, true. Just get lucky, Lamau.
Yeah. As for placement, honestly, she's fine. I mean, you could argue like maybe, I don't know, 1 spot higher, 2 spots higher. At this point, it's like whatever. She's definitely A tier. She's empowered.exe. That's basically all you need.
Yeah, seems fair enough. All right, again, she's staying where she is then. Most exciting episode so far. Holmes we already talked about. Raquel we already talked about. And next we have 3 units that I think are like a little bit similar in how I experienced them, but they do have significant difference, so we'll go over them one by one. But generally I think of these as like somewhat low effort mounted units that you get somewhat late. I think they're all technically pre-promotes, and they are like kind of good at base without a whole lot of training. But if you had like a super trained mounted unit, like they're obviously not as good as someone like Rafen or Zeke or maybe even a trained Esther, but we'll get to that. Anyway, I guess we'll start with Raphael, which apparently is the best one. I think he also has like the relatively lowest join time, but I think just the fact that he has a firearm dad that's alive is already like an accomplishment worth of being A tier. He uses like all weapon types, which I think is super funny in a game where some like axes seem kind of rare, and he just has them. But then he also has like lances, and he also has swords. Unfortunately, he only carries the swords in game, in indoor chapters. So no Plums there like Rafen does. That kind of is unfortunate. I think that kind of cuts his utility in half, and he already doesn't have that much availability to begin with. But his stats are like solid. He does like good damage. I had some okay skills on him, I think. I don't have access to the bot right now, so I can't check his skills. So that'll be up to you. But I thought it was like solid, but obviously not as high up as some of the other characters because it's not around as much. Indoor chapters hurt him. Rune support, I guess, is nice, and you know, seems alright. Nothing super spectacular, but good enough for A tier, I guess? Question mark?
Yes, he's definitely A tier. So his stats will actually be better than Rafen's unless you're really rigging. 41 HP, 17 strength, 13 speed, 13 defense. 15 mastery, so basically can use everything. Skills, Raf, Pavice, Urbanite at base, and then Leather's Flurry at 32. He base level 25, though you would need to feed him an occult book. What sells this unit the most is that in his join chapter, he grabs a kitchen knife, goes outside, and proceeds to murder the enemy army. Like that's basically the gameplay of chapter 19. Man grabs a kitchen knife and goes to ham on every single monster in the vicinity.
Yeah, including the part where like nothing can stop him because he's not a blue unit, he's green, right?
Yeah, exactly. He just sits on the house and like kills everything with a kitchen knife. Yeah, I think his placement is correct. He's a really good mounted unit for a rune and split 2 and 3. As you said, indoors he's bad, but if you go 26A, then that's not a factor until like chapter 37. So he just gets his time to shine. I might be tempted to put him below Mintz, simply for the fact that Mintz does have that Fort Bolt availability to him, as well as chapter 17 availability, though that's less relevant. But availability issues aside, he's just good. Bow access means he can use Chukanus or the Brave Bow, for example. If you want to, you could give him the Dol Harken, which is the axe you dig up in chapter 21 that has like massive weight but halves damage taken. So you can just be really tanky with that if you want to.
Wait, again, he can use bows? What?
Yeah, no, he can use both. He can use every physical weapon type.
I don't think I ever tried using a bow with him. That's so funny.
Yeah, no, he's basically a physical master knight, which means he can also use like long bows, brave crossbows, chukanus.
Oh, why can't he use that shit indoors? That would have been so good.
Don't go to 26B, Lamau.
Christ. Is the other one outdoors? Damn.
Yes, 26A is outdoors.
Rip. What is significant about Fort Bolt? I forgot which map that is.
Fort Bolt is Barbarossa's map, which is one of the more difficult maps in the game.
Oh, he's around for that? Oh, I completely forgot. There's like so many maps that are just infamous for like a hard general sitting on a gate, I feel like.
Yeah, no, but like I meant Mintz is available for that. Raphael is not.
Oh, okay. Yeah. True.
Why I would argue to drop him below Mintz.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we just talk about Mintz then, and then we can make up our mind about that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Mintz, I mean, he's around earlier, but in a lot of ways feels similar to me. For me, Mintz was like a little bit underwhelming compared to how people talked about him for me. But the way I saw it explains, like, yeah, he's just a guy that you can have kill something that's not like a super tough armored enemy. Like, he's not going to kill a tank or like an armor knight without some kind of effective weapon, but you can have him flurry someone, which is basically like FE5 a cost kind of. It just forces more rounds of combat. and that's generally good as long as you pick your combats carefully. I've noticed that it blows through shields really quickly if you use it carefully, so don't do what I did. But generally speaking, he just comes out on top, whatever he attacks, as long as it's not like a super tough boss. And he's fine. Again, not as good as like a trained unit, but a pretty good filler nonetheless. I forgot like most of his specifics, like supports and skills, but from my experience, he was fine. He's around a little more than like Raphael, so I can see moving him over Raphael because I think they're similar enough, and I would weigh the availability over like Raphael's slightly better weapon choices, particularly. Although the fact that he can use the Chukanu or whatever it's called makes me reconsider a little bit. That's really funny. So what else is there to say about Mince? Because you already like led into it just a little bit, right?
It's mainly the fact that he has the combination of Wrath and Flurry, which means that you could potentially like weaken him to have weak HP, then just throw Pylums at the enemy, and as long as he's faster, he can just yeet that at massive critical rates. It's mainly the availability for Fourth Bolt. His stat line is pretty solid. It's not like as good as Raphael's, but honestly, it's good enough to where he can contribute. He actually has exactly 9 masteries, so he can Pylum Saga. As for what other things I can say about him, he also has 8 movement to Raphael's 7. That's also a factor, and it's mostly that Flurry is just a really good ability to have on him. I mean, it eats shields, but on the other hand, if you just have gold, then just stack more. Lamau.
That's true. What does Wrath work like again exactly? Is it like 1% extra crit for every lost HP?
It's like proportional to HP lost. So if you're at like 50% HP lost, then you would get 50% crit.
Oh, so it's on percentage.
Yeah, it's a percentage, and it's constantly shifting basically
as
you lower HP. So you it does calculate at the start of combat, though, I believe.
Okay, so you can't like get hurt and then do a massive crit rate in return.
I'm not sure on this one. This might be confirmation, but either way, even if, then you just throw Pylums at range and destroy enemies.
Yeah, so you can like turn him into a player phase nuke at low HP if you want to, or just tank normally like a good old dude.
Turn him into Bernadetta.
Yeah. Seems funny. Okay, I'm okay with moving him over Raphael, but I don't super care either way.
Yeah.
I'll switch it around for a minute.
And it's mainly just Fourth Bolt.
Mm-hmm. Sure thing. Alright, shall we just do Lionheart next?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the most underwhelming one for me out of the 3 because he's more like a Noma Trooper. As far as I recall, he uses swords and bows, but he doesn't keep the bows indoors, so he's just another sword dude there. So again, another case of like you just want him for outdoor maps, and outside of that he's not really that useful. But even in the outdoor maps that I had him for, I think I pretty much always kept him on the Runen side of things. I never really used him for much beyond his joining chapter. Like I thought he was kind of daring, did like 1 or 2 things per chapter, but I was never super impressed. So I would totally be down with lowering him further, maybe even to B tier, because I just didn't see him do a whole lot. But again, there was like no opportunity cost using him. He just came pre-trained. So he wasn't like bad, but I didn't really find him like outstanding in any way, shape, or form. But maybe there's something that he can do that I missed. Did I?
Not specifically. For what it's worth, I do believe that he actually cannot use the Brave Bow at base, and I would be correct. He can only use the Brave crossbow. Actually, allow me to confirm that real quick, just so I'm not like lying to y'all. But even if he can, which by the way he cannot, needs 2 mastery, he's just not really spectacular in any significant way. Like he's a solid mounted unit, sure, but like bows, swords, not that high bulk. Soul Adept, Kanto, Grass Runner is not as especially attractive like line, so he's mainly like a filler mounted unit, and that's it. Would he be worth dropping into mid?
Yeah,
I believe so, actually. Maybe like below San, where San is currently.
Mm-hmm.
But like he's still a pre-promoted mounted unit that's pretty nice, but I don't see myself fielding him much in like split 3 for sure. Mainly it's just split 2 and the rest 1.
All right, I'll drop him there for sure because that's the feeling I have personally about him, and I know like there's probably gonna be some changes around here anyway, and we'll see if he fits around those changes when we're done with them. Okay, Rebecca, healer girl, joins in the desert map with Runen, and then after that, I really liked her, as you can tell by me putting her in A tier, but I've had some feedback that some people would like switch her out with the other healer girls from the early game, which I can totally see because she's not around for that many maps, and her impact isn't that big. But I do really like just getting a free unit that can just use a physics staff and do nothing else. She can summon golems with the staff she comes with. I forgot what it's called. I think it's just called like golem or summon or whatever. There's like several such staffs. I'm not sure if she can use them all, but having the ability to just summon disposable units is like a very funny ability. If you've played like Gaiden or Shadows of Valentia and you've used like invoke on units, you kind of know the feeling. I enjoyed these for like distracting dangerous enemies, and they're just goofy all around. They're just good fun. There's not too many other things I did with her besides like random one range heals, but I think that utility in general is just super nice, especially going into the late game when enemies do actually kind of pack a punch. You have like strong sorcerers that hit all around. You have like AoE attacks or ballistas going at you. It was kind of rare for her to do nothing per map, but there wasn't too much she did in the map overall. Like the combat units definitely did more than the healers, but there are, as always, more combat units available than there are good healers. So supply and demand is like in her favor there. But generally, I didn't use her that much every map, but I think she's pretty solid. But maybe that description is better fitting for a B tier than an A tier, especially considering she isn't around a whole lot. What do you think?
I would say that, yeah, she's definitely like B tier and should probably be switched with the other healer girl. Usually what happens is that she's just a click physic, the summoning doesn't usually do that much, and she's just basically physic for when Entei leaves eventually.
Yeah,
that can sum her up pretty nicely.
Yeah, what was that thing I wanted to say about the summoning thing? It's also true that like in SOV, for example, invoke is like great for saving your butt when you screwed up a little bit, or like your unit is threatening to get killed, so you need like a safety net. But if you have like a bit more of a planned playthrough and you're actually trying to do like a somewhat efficient clear, I can see golems are like worse because they would just get in your way or divert enemies when you don't want them to. Usually you want to counterattack enemies because you're better at it than the golems are. So
yeah, and even then, if your goal is to bait enemies, then you would use the zombie staff because golems actually have some stats, so the enemy isn't even guaranteed to go for them.
Oh yeah, they're bulky as hell. It's because she almost says she just sees someone's like a promoted one, and that one is just like lives forever.
Yeah, basically.
All right, I'll just move her like around Lionheart for now, and then
sure.
We'll see what she does. I don't know what this unit is doing on the list. I've never seen this person in my life, and I have no idea what she does. But I think she does like roughly the same things as Rebecca, but there might be some differences. I have no idea. What the fuck is this? Who is this?
You've heard of Xavier. Now get ready for Xavier, but even more cracked. So this is Latina, or Latena, whatever the current translation calls her. She's blind. She has the most convoluted recruitment in all of Fire Emblem, basically. I'm not even gonna go into details, look it up. But as a unit, there are some things to talk about here. So let's start with the basics. She's a level 3 cleric, just like Rebecca. She has a bit worse bulk, but higher magic. Same mastery at 10. Both have 4 movement. She doesn't have summon at base, she has Paragon at base, learns summon at level 8. And has a personal silence staff. Also, she grants plus 10 avoid to every player and NPC unit on the map. This is a map-wide effect.
So like double leadership star basically.
Yeah, but only for avoid, not for hit rate.
Okay.
The thing with silence is that it also it shares like this AI with expel, where it's or banish whatever, where it's just like set number of enemies dependent on someone like randomized between magic stat, I believe. The thing is, it doesn't only target magical unit; it targets every single unit on the map.
Oh no.
So there will just be like you try using silence and it will like silence like one magic user maybe. because it just like procs against the irrelevant targets, which are the physical units.
Okay, I will say when the one time or a couple of times I used Expel, I was able to target like almost every enemy on the map with Rebecca.
But that's specific with Renee.
Oh yeah.
But that targets specifically monsters and just a binary effect of delete enemy yes no. Here it I believe silences, and I believe the silence isn't even a permanent effect, it's just like one turn.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's not the greatest.
Yeah, I kind of want to compare it to like FE3 silence, which I think is really good, but it's obviously guaranteed in that game.
Yeah, but that's map wide and guaranteed.
I know.
Again, like silence is mainly like a desperation effort. That point, if you're getting hurt, then you're getting hurt for the +10 avoid to every player and NPC, or just for the lows of getting the event. Fun fact for everyone who does the event: if you don't want to pick Ezekiel just for the event, kill off Christ after you get Rebecca, and don't revive him until after endgame. Then the event where she would leave the party is skipped.
Christ is not here. Might as well stay.
Yeah, what a good unit. I mean,
by the way, I'm not going to penalize her for the event or her recruitment, because I think that's outside of the scope of a tier list. I want to tier units with the assumption they're being used already. So exactly. Think of it as like a full recruitment tier list if you want.
I would still say that like the summoning is probably a bit more relevant than what she does, so just put her slightly below Rebecca.
Yeah, I think they're similar enough to stay like that. I do like the order they were in, so that seems fair to me. Okay, that's A tier for now. I'm sure some units might move in there at some point, but cool, that's it. So Esther is here, and from what I've been told, this is like a somewhat contentious placement of Esther. A lot of people don't like her, and I can see why, because she is a Cavalier in the early game that needs the XP to get there, when obviously Naron exists, and I believe there's also only one super early Night Crest, and if she takes it, then Naron can't take it. I think there's like, I do think units that require investment like Esther's are automatically worse than units that don't require as much investment, units that are just good without any, like the units you see in A tier for the most part, unless they have something super unique about them that make them really good, like the Flyers. Or I guess Shean or maybe Holmes can be counted as like needing investments. Esther needs it like a fair bit more than some of those units anyway. I do think Esther is in a somewhat unique position to take advantage of her innate traits, like the sport with Rafen. Like the way my playthrough felt was a lot of it, if you wanted to do it somewhat optimally, was you put Rafen in range of enemies and hope they die. And Esther makes that a bit more reliable by giving Rafen a support that they have at base, and I think that grows a little bit. I think that's nice. And obviously I invested heavily into Esther, so it's really hard for me to gauge how good she would be without that much investment. I think like I used an armor on her early on to help train her. I gave her... what else did I get? I gave her the early Night Crest, of course, and I probably gave her a couple of other things I'm not thinking of, like kill favoritism. So I might be biased towards Esther, and I'm down for moving her, you know, a bit further down her B. I don't know if I can see her in Zeke. I don't think she's that bad. I do think at the very worst, she's better than the other Cavaliers by a little bit. But I think she's fine. I think she has like I think almost every playthrough you have like one or two units that you would pick as like a training project. I think she's a decent candidate, but it's possible that the early Night Crest that she kind of wants conflicts a bit too much with an early Naron. I'm not sure about that one. So I'm curious what you think. I'm down for moving her down though, if you think she should go down a lot.
Okay, so with Esther, you're correct that if you're picking Naron, Esther basically gets left in the dust, because she needs that early investment. Her start is really rough. 4 bases in strength, skill, speed, defense, only 3 mastery. This isn't even enough to wield an Iron Lance, by the way. And while she does get better eventually, Wrath at 14, and her promotion gains are pretty good. 3 strength, 4 speed, 3 defense, 3 mastery. But it's like, honestly, it's not as clear cut as you make it seem, because Christ actually competes pretty well against Esther, just because of his way better start and better stat distribution initially.
Yeah, I feel like the stat gap, it depends a little bit how bad it is on like how other units leave enemies, because if you have like I don't know exactly how true this is, but let's say Rafen already leaves people with like really low HP. The gap between them isn't that big, but if after Rafen hits something, Esther can't kill where someone else can, that's obviously a huge difference. But that requires some pretty specific knowledge on numbers.
Then you're only getting the kills that Rafen would set up, whereas with Kreis, he actually eventually does get into his own because of his strength stat.
Well, yeah, but eventually Esther gets there too, right? It's just a matter of how long it takes.
Well, actually, the strength gap is like constant pretty much because Esther has 4 strength, 30% growth, and +3 on promotion. Kreis has 7 strength, 30% growth, and +2 on promotion. So the strength gap actually never really disappears. It's mainly the speed gap that would disappear. And this is where we have to go into a bit. This is a Esther, Arcus, and Kreis combined discussion, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess so. That's fine.
Because we need to get into how the tiering Saga AS thresholds work.
Sure.
So because there is no stat that actually counteracts weight, anything that you equip will weigh you down. The ideal weapon that you want to use for like when you want AS is the Slim Lance. And the Slim Sword has too low combat stats.
Yeah, Slim Sword is garbo.
Yeah, the Iron Sword is strictly worse than the Slim Lance if you are able to use both.
There's no weapon triangle, so like who cares, right?
Yeah, there is no weapon triangle, so who cares? And the thing with human enemies specifically is that most of them, now keep in mind most, not all of them, obviously sword users are going to be faster, but most enemies are really weighed down by their weapons. So the AS thresholds actually work out in Kreis's favor, surprisingly. So the combination of having higher strength and higher mastery actually works to his benefit. Esther gets more explosive returns, I would say. A Paragon of level 20 low. But
I was not factoring that on at all because I knew you would say that.
It's mostly the Raf at 14 that's actually like really benefits her.
Did the others get like skills that counteract that or not?
No, Kreis basically gets Vantage at 19 and basically nothing else, but it's nothing as good. It's mostly just the stats thresholds. And the thing is that, again, since Kreis can use Iron Lances, which are more powerful at base, and he has a straighter shot to getting pylons, he actually competes pretty favorably with Esther, I would say. Esther starts really, really bad. Like, damn, bro.
Yeah.
But again, she does grow well. I will give her that. But I don't think it should get her a placement as high as this.
Oh, that's fair. I forgot how bad her bases are. Like, remember, most of my playthrough was not training Esther, but using Esther to kill things. So I'd have forgotten a little bit how bad she was at first. I might have also given her a stat booster. I don't remember exactly what it was. Might have been a robe or something. So at the very least, she should be like on par with the other calves, I guess.
I would say like
you'd say below, obviously. I can tell.
To a bit jump the gun. Maybe like move her slightly above Marouge, and then like put Kreis adjacent to her, because I really do think the two are actually comparable because of Kreis's innate advantage in bases. Like he does get a worse promotion, but just the fact that he has a better early means that he also keeps up well.
You think Arcus fits in there as well?
No, Arcus actually should probably stay here, because with Arcus, his thing is that he combines the fact that enemies, again, human enemies in Tiering Saga are pretty slowish. So he combines lower. He only has 1 higher strength than Esther, has a lower growth, has the same mastery as her, and his main claim to fame is his 7 speed. But that's not pushing any real thresholds. He also doesn't get any real skills. So at that point, I would say that Esther actually does overpower him as like an investment unit, definitely.
Yeah. So you think he actually should stay in C then, like a tier below the other ones?
Yes, actually, yes, Arcus should actually stay in C.
Damn, rip Arcus.
Them's the breaks. But yeah, it's just how the tiering saga works out. If you're curious with monsters, most of them, the ones that you don't use actual weaponry, are usually not slowed down, so you need higher AS thresholds, and Arcus just doesn't get there.
Talking about like
So
zombies with claws and stuff.
Well, zombies with I'm more into like moguls. It's moguls, gargoyles, etc.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's just like he doesn't get enough speed to really matter, and then his strength is not as high as either of those two, because like one higher base and lower growth and lower promotion gain, so Esther will basically tie him on that front.
Yeah, but if his strength is just a little bit lower and his speed doesn't matter that much, like you say, it doesn't hit any new thresholds, but it's like at least as good as theirs. So isn't he like at least within a tier of them?
No, because again, his mastery is about on par with her. He doesn't get anything. He doesn't get anything like Wrath to really catapult their viability, and the promotion to Bronze Paladin has 7 movement as opposed to 8 of the Silver Knight. So he doesn't even have like that. So he doesn't really benefit from a better early game to catapult him like anywhere really.
So feels bad on multiple levels to the point where he's actually a tier worse. Gotcha.
Yes.
All right, cool. That's the Cavs. I think we were here though. We were at the top of B. We just moved like 3 people over the place, or 2 people over the place. Talked about a third. But yo, this is the other Cav, right? This is it? This is Sun, right?
No, yeah, this is Sun.
Yeah, this is the one. This is the Cav that joins with Frau, I think.
Yes, this is yeah. She joins with Frau in chapter 15.
Yeah, I remember seeing her and be like, yeah, this is not worth the effort for me right now. So I passed on her, and then I put her on like C or D and posted my lead tiers for review. People were like, yo, put this unit up like 5 tiers because he's way better than that. And the best, I didn't use her, but from what I've heard, the best description for her is like another Naron that you can and easily can train and will want to train if you're still looking for one of those, because her stats end up really good, and she has Paragon, right? So that's not a whole lot of work if you wanted it to.
Yes. Okay. So with Sun, she starts as a level 2 Cavalier. Her bases are actually better than the Cavalier trio. 20 HP, 6 strength, 7 speed, 4 defense, 3 mastery. That's the low part.
Yeah, she joins around Mogul Cave, right?
Yes. However, her promotion gains are good. 4 strength, 4 HP, 3 strength, 4 skill, 4 speed, 4 defense, 3 mastery, and +1 movement. As for skills, start with Canto. That's already good. The initial Cavaliers do not have Canto, by the way.
Yeah.
And neither does Esther. And at level 5, starts at level 2, gets Paragon, and upon promotion to Black Paladin, gets Flurry. Other skills are irrelevant. You heard her compared to like Naron that you can train, and that's accurate. She has lower bulk trained than she's more of a glass cannon. Well, not really that glass, but more of a glass cannon. Her main thing is that if you try to use her, then the next map would be Mogul Cave, which is an absolutely horrendous spot to train her. Like, please, just spare yourself. However, just a few maps down the line, there is this map with like a bunch of Entombed that are easy pickings for anyone. So you can just send her in there, and she gets level 10 easily. Just promote her, and kaboom! You have a Black Paladin with Flurry and Paragon. Free, pretty good unit, I would say. Like with Esther, she avoids most of the problems of having to be trained, because like there's just a spot that opens her up really well. The initial Paragon helps instead of level 20, and then Flurry being tied to promotion rather than requiring a level is also nice. Also, Flurry is, I would say, a bit more applicable than Wrath, because Wrath would require you to be on lower HP, whereas with Flurry, as long as you outspeed, and her speed is pretty good, you can just chuck Polems at range and ORKO.
Yeah, it's more easier to use that way. I think I roughly agree with this, but I do want to raise one point that I think otherwise the comment section will get at you for, so I'll just let you review it. So there's a spot where we can easily give her a bunch of XP, sure. But technically, any unit could get that. It reminds me a little bit of when people say, well, you can easily forge the Royal Sword in SOV because you just get like a bunch of gold alongside it, not realizing that you can also spend that gold on a bunch of other things. But I can buy the argument that she is such a good user of the resources at XP that you should still do it. That's like optimal. But there's no one else who wants that resource, that easy XP in that map. Like I think I traded my flyers there, for example.
No, actually, maybe like the next best thing would be Naron. Thing is, she doesn't actually have to absorb the entire map there. You can just settle for a few of them and then just feed the rest to other units. It's not like she needs to eat every single entombed on the map. There is enough to go around. But as for other units that need to be trained at that point, I mean, the sword fighters are getting there. Maybe Lionel, late Naron? Question mark. But she's like definitely on the top of the list of units that would get the most benefit from being fed on the entombed. And once she is, and once she promotes, she just like becomes really self-sufficient.
Well,
other units can use other maps, like for example the Fort Ligria skirmish to also get some EXP. So it's not like you're leaving them dead in the water. It's just that you're getting a unit that has really good return. Not even all of the investment, just some of the investment for a very easy map, and she has really high returns on that.
Yeah, fair enough. I can see it. It's definitely a unit I'm going to use in my next playthrough because she does seem like really fun to use. How many maps in is this again? Like, how many maps do we get this trained unit for again? Like 19?
You get her in chapter 15, but she's basically unusable for mobile cave. So you get her for the cave stretch for chapter 20, 21, 22, 23, and skirmish with the stupid skirmish with gargoyles, and then all of split 2 and 3.
Okay.
That's actually some pretty good availability.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because if we're training this unit for like, I don't know, what was it, like 5 maps, 10 maps, I would say yeah, it's pretty low returns, but that sounds like a bit longer than that, so that seems fine.
You get a better amount of unit for 20, which is definitely nice. Where that's a longer map, so that's a wider map, so you want more mobility, as well as same with 21. Which is more you want more combat capable units, and if trained, she definitely stands up to the challenge there.
All right, seems good. All right, she can stay then.
Yeah, I think the placement is fine.
Okay. Line art, we went over Rebecca, and unit I have no idea who the fuck that is staying where she is. The earlier healer girls, like we've alluded to, I guess we could have tackled them earlier, but it's fine. Katri and I do think these are like, they are similar in a lot of ways, but they're also like on different splits for a lot of time, and they're different in some ways, so I guess we kind of need to take them apart a little bit sometimes, but for what they have in common, they're forced in every map. They're even game over conditions for every map that they're in, basically. And they are so fragile that they generally, when they're healing, they don't want to get them attacked, so they just physic or one range heal if they can get there safely, and don't do much else. Safe staff, I guess, is a nice use of Entei, especially, I feel like. And they don't do much else until they can do dragony things, and then especially for Katri, this is super relevant because she just, like I said in that Tearing Saga video that I made, she gains the ability to transform into a dragon, and you get to keep using her and transform her into a dragon that gets to keep destroying things, and I really enjoyed that. It's a complete shift from like fragile healer girl to dragon that's so strong that no enemy even wants to attack them, and that it's kind of bad in a way because now she just doesn't kill enemies that will just go around her. But there's definitely use cases for it, and she can at least kill someone on player phase. And I thought it was really nice for some maps to have that option in a unit. And even then, I think basically having Rebecca and Latina's like utility, but a lot earlier seems good. So some people suggested moving them to A tier both, which I can definitely see. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I probably agree. Entei is available for more chapters than Katri, but Katri has the dragon in the room, which literally turns her invincible. I don't think there's a single enemy in the game that can kill her, like even do damage to her, to that point. She also gets AoE breath, which can hit your own units, but you can also damage multiple enemy units. Now, it doesn't have the greatest accuracy in the world, but it's still a nice option. And you mentioned that enemies don't attack her, but on the flip side, you can also just turn her into like an invincible choke point.
Yeah.
If you need to, or just like a spot in the formation where like you put her like one tile ahead, and then other enemies have less room to attack your other units.
Yeah, light rune still is a kind of utility you can have for sure. Do you think
Yeah.
they should go like the bottom of A, or maybe I feel like they should be higher than at least Min's, maybe Raquel, honestly.
Well, I feel maybe
I know you like Min's though.
Maybe Catry should go above Mince, and then Entei just like below Raphael because like Entei is literally just physics.exe. That's it.
Yeah. This is physics for a long time, that's it.
Yeah.
So Entei below Min's, but above Raphael, or like maybe below them both, honestly.
Below both, yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes more sense. It's a bit weird to have them separated like this, but I see why, because the dragon is really a big difference maker sometimes.
Yeah, the dragon is that big of a difference.
Yeah, it's literally quite big. I enjoyed the AoE attack. It's like, yeah, you can hurt your own units, but guess what? Just don't aim at your own units. We'll have the problem solved.
Or aim at your own units, but one of those units is Shigen. Replenish his HP.
This is the way to get Shigen killed. It's just
no, but like imagine if like he's on low HP and you like wanna get him like refilled. Just equip Dulohan and get hit by the fierce breath. He dies, replenishes to full HP.
And then you switch to a different weapon afterwards.
Yeah.
That's big brain. Because like the accuracy check is against his avoid, right? So it'd be hard to hit him probably.
It's hit against avoid, but the dual hunt is heavy.
Not true.
So it's not that guaranteed, and it's honestly more of a meme strat than anything. But again, like you can definitely make the fierce breath be really valuable, especially in some like early maps, like for example Chapter 12, which is the Atram map. Like that, it's just like a small field with a bunch of enemies. Like they clump up, and you just have Catry nuke a bunch of them. And even if she like misses one or two, it's honestly fine because she just damages more.
Yeah, you hedge your bets right, and if you hit like 2 out of 5, that's still better than hitting him 1 out of 5 with the other attack. So
yeah, exactly, and it does 30 damage. So it might not kill, but it will weaken enough to where basically anyone can kill at that point.
Yeah, it's like getting to use an FE7 Fire Dragon. It's kind of fun. You have defense. No, you don't. Actually, you don't. Okay. That takes care of the healer girls. Oh, we have. I think we didn't do Mariel yet, but we did do the other 2 mages already. So.
Oh, we only did Marouge.
Oh, true. We put Marouge next to Alicia and then compared them for a little bit. I think that's what happened. But
yes.
Yeah, well, let's just talk about Mariel first, and we'll see where we go from there, I guess. So, Mariel, I didn't train her. I was planning to, but I didn't end up doing it. I think we talked about Mariel a little bit in like the utility of Starlight and Aura Rain, but not like mostly in the topic of like how they compared to how they mages compared to each other. I think, from what I remember. But that's really all I did with Mariel is like use her personal weapons, Starlight and Aura Rain sometimes. And Aura Rain is like one of those things where if you remember that it's there and then you know what maps it's good on, then you can exploit it to its full. It's kind of like the personal staves that we talked about before, like Empower. So you can remove like a bunch of ballistas from a map or a bunch of angry Draco zombies or something else that I'm not thinking of right now. And that's just such a massive headache reducer that it's honestly that kind of utility feels like it's on par with Empower sometimes and how overpowered it can be. But at the same time, Aura Rain is less uses and probably less use cases as well compared to Empowered. It's like not as universally useful. And then like 7 uses just isn't a whole lot. And you only use it on turn 5 as well. And you can dance around the same turn that you're doing it to use it twice on a turn, but it's still turn 5 utility only, whereas Empower works for the entire map, which is still like a difference maker. So, I don't know. I could see an argument for moving Mariel up from here, actually, just based on the fact that Aura Rain is like so free and so good sometimes, whereas the other 2 are really just mages that sometimes do something, but a lot of the time spent doing nothing and are like in need of XP, whereas Mariel can function at base level. So that's like the main distinguishing factor I can see right now. I don't think Starlight is very good. It's like so... If I recall, it's like too heavy to double anything. And it also hurts her XP gain like we discussed in the previous episode. So I don't like her too much as a unit, but I do like her as a... like a defense... a tower attack, basically. Like a big AoE attack. Because Aura Rain just hits all the enemies. Or, yeah, it hits all the enemies. That's I like that. But I can also just see we're keeping her where she is. Because we did kind of calibrate her position by talking about Alicia and Marouge a lot. So, curious, do you have like any updated thoughts on Mariel?
The plan all along was to move Mariel and Alicia up to A tier. Well, I'm sorry, Marouge boys.
Wait, so you made me move Marouge to where Alicia was, and then you're moving Alicia out of there?
Yes.
Why?
Because she's better. Okay, let's wait a bit. It's Marielle time. So here's a fun fact for the audience. Marielle ended my 0% growths at level 4. She also got number 3 kills. Yeah, Aura Rain doesn't actually give you all the EXP, which is sad. I mean, you summarized it pretty well. Aura Rain is just so insane as a spell. Monster effective, hits entire map. You can support stack to make it even more accurate and potentially crit. Fun fact, if you get her to level 15 without promoting, she gets Wrath, which can be funny with that. As for Starlight, it's a decent nuke, I suppose. Like, against monsters, it's 60 might, so basically delete monster. But again, yeah,
it's a
really
one to range ensorcel, or what's it called? Expel.
Yeah, one to range expel. that also bricks the unit. But again, like, she's just Starlight chip before getting Aura Rain, and then Aura Rain is just cheese land. Like, dance to her, and most enemies can be 2-hit KO'd with even slightly trained Marielle. So, like, the map just explodes if you manage to dance. If you do, I mean, if you meme and you get, dance and sing, then that's basically everything dead on the map, besides, like, the boss. I think that alone is worth A tier.
Yeah.
As you mentioned.
See, that's what I thought, but I thought you moved Marielle here with a purpose, but that purpose was apparently to move her back up.
No, I didn't move. You
didn't move her, but you put units around her with the idea that, like, okay, so Marielle's accurate, so I moved the other units here.
I just put Marouge in B because, like, he's honestly, like, he's decent. That's it. Lol. With Marielle, she's just wipe entire map with Aura Rain, especially useful in, like, 24, which is the big bridge map. 37, as you mentioned, all the Draco Knight and all the Draco zombies besides the one special one go poof, and all the potentially summoned monsters if you don't have Sierra on that route. And really, like, a lot of maps can just be.
Yeah, I've heard that the speedrun, I think, uses Aura Rain to dispose of the 5 Draco Knights that support each other in the desert.
That's also that can be done. I'm not sure how their avoid affects that though. Might be unavailable.
Yeah, it's probably the same idea with, like, Catry, with hitting the AoE attack, right, where you hit some of them, and even if you take away one support partner, that's already pretty good.
Exactly.
So do you think that the comparison to, I keep forgetting her name, Empower Girl, Lyria, is, like, apt, or do you think she's lower than that?
I think it's apt. I would say she's probably, like, below Raphael, as she's not as consistently useful.
Yeah.
She does earlier, but she's mainly just Starlight nuke, and even then Starlight is not that accurate, I believe. So it's like, she's a nuke, yeah, sure, but how much is she really gonna do? She has to be covered, or just swap weapons, and even then she's not guaranteed to survive.
Yeah.
Actually, Starlight is very accurate, but it's just heavy. It's just heavy as all hell.
Yeah. It's also like, she doesn't have many opportunities to contribute. It's just when she does, it's super good.
No, it does raise a void, lol, but yeah, like, she's still getting doubled, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would probably put her above Entei.
Yeah, that feels right to me too.
Yeah. As for Alicia.
Yeah, sure, go ahead with Alicia, because I think I already said most of the things I wanted to say about her anyway when we talked about Marouge last time.
Basically, she's better Marouge because she gets Flurry at level 16 as opposed to 39, lol. But other than that, Dire Thunder is just a way better tome. Now, you might remember Dire Thunder from Freysia. There it was 15 might, 70 hit, and was heavy. Here, it's actually 12 might, so it's lower. So it has 3 less might, but it has 95 hit. So it's actually very accurate. So she just hits twice on basically everything. It only has 4 weight, so it's actually, like, light, and she can, double a bunch of enemies. And if you do train her, she does get Flurry at 16, which means that she can just nuke, basically, because nothing is surviving that at that point. Her problem is mainly that she's a mage, so her movement is 4, 5 after promotion, which, while still good, does mean that she suffers a fair bit. As for where I would put her,
Yeah.
I want to say like either above Lionheart or below Lionheart. That's about where I would put.
I was gonna say I don't. Her issues seem too bad to be A tier to me, so I do like maybe slightly up, like above the healer girls. I kind of like that actually. I think that's good.
Yeah. The main thing is just that she's a way better investment than Marouche. But other than like, it's funny because Mariel is like way worse. Honestly, a worse investment. But Aura Rain is just so insane that it's just like, yeah, she's going A.
Yeah, I don't think of Mariel as an investment project. I think of Mariel as like a unit that uses Aura Rain a couple times, and that alone is so good that it's worth putting her up there. And any gains she gets on the way there, like, great.
So yeah, I think that's honestly fine. As for Marouche himself, do we want to? Does he go below the Cavaliers? That's what I'm wondering.
Well, yeah, we did move the Cavaliers here. That's true.
Yeah, we did move the Cavaliers here, and I honestly think he should go below the Cavaliers. At that point, he's around. He has a nice tone, but he just doesn't do that much.
Yeah, because you said he has like doubling issues with him, right?
Well, basically, and he's like just like okay with low movement, so and not much else to show for it. So honestly, I would take the investment project Cavaliers than Marouche. So put him below there.
Fair enough. That gets us into uncharted territory from here. So I guess we just talk about those next, and then I don't know. They can move over. They can move over Marouche if we do like them. So.
Yeah. Again, I want to point out that of course some of these can be like questioned. Like, do you prefer Marouche's like consistency more? Do you value more investment and movement? It's like at some point you're gonna turn to the old apples versus oranges argument where it's like not much makes sense. So take the discussion for what it is, a discussion about tiering Saga's units, and focus less on individual placements than just in general discussions about said units.
What are they gonna do if they don't like my tier list? Like go to another one on YouTube? Good one.
I mean, bold of you to assume they have watched this far.
Look, there's people out there that do watch this far. Comment if you watch this far. I know you're out there somewhere.
Comment H if you watch this far.
H?
H.
Just H? Okay, fair enough.
Yes. People who were around on my channel will know what H means.
Okay. Oh, I hope I'll never find out. Anyway, yeah, I think there's merit to Marouche being higher just because he does more at base level, but I'm fine with them being the way it is. And like we said, we're prioritizing people being in the right tier. Where we go from there is like whatever. Okay, so Narcus, when I first got him, I thought I was like, oh, I'm getting Zane plus because he can do thievery, but he also does the transformation thing. But I feel like Narcus is a fair bit worse at mimicking a unit than Zane is in Shadow Dragon and stuff because he doesn't copy their stats exactly. I think he goes off of class bases, and then I think his own additions to them. The formula is a bit weird. I'm sure you'll fill me in when we get there. So I didn't use that utility much. There was like a couple chapters where I transformed Narcus into someone. I think I transformed him into a thief for one of the last chapters where you have to like walk through the fog and open doors. I think I transformed him into a flyer once. And I know that you transformed him into Sierra for teleportation funnies for like a Julius kill. That's most of the use cases I can remember. Maybe there's more. He also doesn't feel like he's not around much because he like ditches you for like quite a bit. So I'm not sure exactly what chapters he's around for. And Thief utility seems like very rare in this game. And then the Mimic, like I said, is kind of underwhelming. But sometimes I'm sure you can find use to it. And if you know how he works, I'm sure you can manipulate him in a way where the mimicry actually does a lot more work than I was able to make it do blindly. So I can see him do more work than this, but at the same time, there's not a whole lot of things I can think of him doing. But, you know, go ahead. Tell me what you can do with Narcus. I'm curious.
Okay, so the main thing with him is that he just doesn't get much time to shine. But as you mentioned, he can transform into other units. Now, you mentioned that he's worse at it than in Shadow Dragon. And it's debatable, honestly, because he can just turn into Witch, which is like probably the most busted class in Fire Emblem history. Just teleport anywhere. how his transformation works is that he essentially reclasses. He takes on the class basis of the class that he's transforming into. Now, this can have some funny effects. For example, in my 0% growth run once, my first run, where I picked Naron, I had him transform into Naron, and he was essentially better Naron because he has his own actual basis, whereas Naron basically doesn't.
So, because he adds his own personal basis to the class basis he transformed to, right?
Yes, and it just so happens that he can transform into some of the highest class bases, like Gold Knight and King's Knight, which is Raphael's class. That's what he can do for 26. 26A specifically. 26B, I'm not sure honestly. Maybe like.
I transformed him into my Bilford.
What? Okay, yeah, that's actually pretty
He didn't
nice.
keep the movement though, unfortunately.
Yeah, because it's his personal.
Yeah.
Not class. But once split free hits and once you put him on the same route as Sierra, he pops off because he doesn't inherit the Vantage, but he does get +5 magic, and he actually has 4 base magic of his own, so he has 9 magic. Only loses like 4 AS, which means that he still has 13 speed as a witch. And if you just give him Sylphid, then that alone will just catapult his offense to dealing with generic enemies easily. And again, he can just warp around for 5 turns unimpeded, so yeah, he's just really good there.
We're talking split 3, right? Like split 3
yes,
Sierra on Runen side?
Split 3 Sierra on Runen side, yes.
Okay.
That's his main utility, because he can then teleport around 34, 35 if you play that straight. 36, definitely. 37.
So we're talking like Ernst map and Julius map, and what else?
Ernst map, Julius map. He helps on the monster map where the scary dragon comes out. 37, yeah, he can help kill the far off summoners alongside Sierra, for example. Or just teleport around and kill some of the other isolated guys with Sylphid. 39, again, like if you're not one-turning that, then he can still help around because low witch, low Sylphid.
Sounds like he should be at least like near the top of B rather than where he is right now, at the very least.
For the late utility, yeah, honestly, I can agree with that. I would say he's probably like above Lionheart.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put him above San, actually. San just gets a bit more to shine while still being a great unit. But yeah, he definitely does a lot on split 3, and in 26A, definitely he does a lot as well.
Yeah, it's just a very short time, but sometimes almost as impactful as Sierra. Seems pretty good.
Yeah. 2 Chukunu Paladins.
I have to trade that thing around like crazy.
Hell yeah. You can buy them in 26A, by the way.
Oh god.
There is a secret shop there.
Disgusting.
This is the should have gone to 26A gang.
Yeah. I guess he also theoretically has like credit for digging up items, right?
Mainly though in, well, technically in both chapters really, but I don't know. I guess you can have a thief there. I guess you can have a thief for 25, but honestly, there is no real reason to send one of them there. So just have him dig it up.
Yeah, that's like somewhat notable, I guess. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Bartz, we already talked about him a little bit with Samson, but he was around for quite a bit longer. I kind of liked him in the early game. I don't remember exactly how he performed, but I think even though axes are so heavy, he's fast enough to double like enemy axes at least, and that was kind of cool. And then he's just a combat unit that works well as long as you keep him up. It's kind of like with the investment cavaliers and whatever other early game units you can think of. Like, yeah, the fact that he needs the experience to keep functioning is kind of a detriment to him. But at the same time, he is there to help you out with killing things. So it almost kind of balances out. And then if you keep doing it long term, I don't know, I thought he was fine. There were some chapters where I was like a little worried about his durability sometimes, or whether he would hit or not. But generally, I think he's just an okay warrior with like high strength, high HP, and just enough speed to get by. So I thought it was okay. I gave him like 1 shield potion, basically the Draco shield, for a bit of extra defense, so that if he did get doubled by a mogul, he wouldn't like instantly lose like a third of his health. But I don't know, I thought he was fine. I'm okay with keeping him a tier below Samson, but I wouldn't want to move him a whole lot. He seems more similar to the units that he's around right now than the units in like the upper part of it. I don't think he's as good as like Narcus or Son or I don't know. I could see him debated against Alicia, but the rest of them seem like way different. I kind of want to keep him where he is, roughly speaking. What do you think?
Yeah, it makes sense. He's still pretty good. Yeah, Samson is just better, I would say, but he's definitely irrelevant. The main thing that he gets is that at level 15 he does get Flurry, and he gets Mountaineer, so there are some occasions where that's relevant. Mainly the Cave Stretch and Chapter 20, which is the long walk to the ruins. I'm not sure if 21 is mountain terrain or frontier terrain. I'm not even sure if 20 is honestly mountain terrain. It might just be frontier. But yeah, he's just like decent. That's mostly what I can say about him. He's just like budget Samson, but you get him a bit earlier, I suppose. Mainly the lower speed base, but again, he will serve you well. If you get him some good weapons like the Killer Axe, then yeah, he will pop off.
Yeah, and like you use a Tomahawk like indoors when most units can't use like 1-2 range with it.
Yes,
right?
Though he cannot actually use it at base. He has 8 mastery and 15 mastery growth, so he would basically need to promote to use the Tomahawk indoors.
Okay, I remember mine used it, so I thought I was like a near given. Okay, fair enough.
But after, did you promote him?
Yeah, I did.
Then yeah, after promotion, it is actually guaranteed. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he only needs to get the 10 to promote. That doesn't seem super hard. So. Yeah.
He's sadly one mastery away from Killer Axe at base, so you would either need to promote or bank on a lucky 15%.
Yeah, but again, just promote your investment units. Just promote your training.
Yeah, again, like he's definitely fine in B. I wouldn't drop him. Like I definitely wouldn't drop him. Debatable whether I would raise him. I can see some arguments, but I'm not like super convinced. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess this one's up to you, but like I would say Alicia is probably better than him overall, but between there, like, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I like him where he is. I'm just gonna keep him where he is.
Yeah.
Okay. This is Frau, right?
Yes, this is Frau.
Yeah. So Pegasus Knight joins like the same time as San, so has the same opportunity to train on the same things as San, I guess. We discussed last time about whether it was worth it to bring Pegasi to the Mogul Cave, because that map is indoors, but if you move a Pegasus Knight over the swamp, then you can mount there and then fly over the swamp. We concluded it was not worth it, or rather, Rengo concluded it wasn't worth it. So that map is kind of out for her, and then you could train her afterwards in like a zombie map or something and make her good. I think I don't remember if I tried very hard. I know I trained some other things on those maps where I have like easy XP, so I really get to experience her whole way through. And there was definitely a point where I decided, yeah, I'm not using Frau anymore for this playthrough, so I didn't really use her a whole lot. Having a flyer seems nice, but you do already have a couple that are good, and I don't think there's a whole lot of value in adding more than one flyer. So in that sense, I don't think she adds a whole lot, but at the same time, it's a potential flyer. So I'm curious if there's any like other upsides to using Frau specifically, if you wanted to. But she doesn't seem super great to me. Like, I guess I just kind of see it as like another okay investment, but not super great to me. What do you think?
There is basically nothing that differentiates Frau from the other sisters, because she only has Canto, gets Adept at level 12, but she doesn't have Paragon at base, so that's a bit away. Slayer 25 is irrelevant. The main thing, and the reason I actually used her in 0%, is that she actually has 5 mastery at base, which means that she's 1 mastery potion away from 11 swords. So if you want to train her, and that Entombed map, by the way, also drops a mastery potion. So she's like the third candidate for a Flyer Pegasus, but in my experience, you don't need more than 2. 1 for each split in split 1, and then eventually just combine both on 1 route. I guess if you're not like using Sasha, you might have not known that she promotes to Pegasus. You might have missed the event or whatever. Then she's actually a pretty decent substitute. She does have 45% speed growth and 11 base. 8 magic, which is standard, 25% growth, decent, and 5 mastery, so 1 potion away from 11. Again, like, she's just basically filler 11 Pegasus. That's the best I can describe her.
Yeah, I think the simplified way I would looking at it is I don't like assuming people are ignorant of making tier lists about like a Sasha event or something, but at the same time she does something that Sasha does too. So how does that compare Frau to units that are not Sasha? Basically, is the way I'm thinking of it. Like, does that being an option as a Pegasus, because you do really want one, is like kind of decent, but at the same time, it is something you only need 2 of, and you have 3, and she's the obvious 3rd one. So I don't know. Do you like where she is based on that?
I like where she is. She's again, like, she's a good tech choice, I suppose. Definitely not near Frau because definitely not near Sun, because she's just way better at her job, gets Paragon, and actually does stuff that's unique to her. Worth mentioning, by the way, that Sasha gets Adept at level 15 as well, so there's also additional overlap there. So yeah, she's just basically third string flyer for when you decided not to train one of the other 2.
Yeah, it's like a replacement option, I guess. Yeah, sure. Okay, this guy's Zeno, right? That's his name?
Yeah, Zeno.
Yeah, Zeno. I didn't use him at all, but from what I can tell, he's just another merc, fast, swordy guy you can train. Seems kind of nice. I think he supports some of the crew that Holmes was with initially, so probably always want to send him with them and take advantage of that. Like I said, I trained Shean a lot, and I didn't really find a need to train more than one of those units. But in a new run, I would probably try this guy out because he seems kind of fun. But I have no idea what he does, so feel free to enlighten me.
Basically, generic mercenary. He's like very similar. He's like very similar to Atram, like to a point where it basically he has the zombie map over Atram, because you probably want to do chapter 12 before you do chapter 11, which is funny how that works. Though you could do them in reverse, I suppose. It's like they have almost identical bases, like literally 24 HP, 6 strength, 7 skill, 9 speed, 4 defense, 6 mastery. That's literally for them both. I'm reading both of their bases. I think the main thing here would be like promotion gains, and the fact that you could use Atram for the Renee map to recruit Renee. That might be like the only determining factor. At level 15 mercenary, Atram gets Sol, so you would need to stall his promotion. For Zeno, that's level 13 lethality, which is honestly worse. Like level 20 Slayer lol. Like, they're very similar. I think they should be they definitely should be adjacent to each other.
Yeah, I agree.
They're basically like filler swords. Like, they're not as good as the sword masters. They don't have anything special to go about them. Their skills aren't anything too spectacular. I think it's mostly a question of how they stack up to Julia, which I think we should probably go to discussing first before we decide on Zeno, Atram, Julia placements.
Yeah.
They should be next to each other, but let's discuss Julia before we make the final decision.
Yeah, I agree. I'll just do that real quick, and then we can talk about Julia, because Atram clearly is too similar to really have an entry of his own. I do think these two are like super alike in almost every way I can think of, so I'm glad you agree. Julia, if I recall, she joins like almost right away, like in the chapter 2, I want to say. Like she's like near the village, right? Where you the first map where you get to use Rafen, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So I also didn't use her long term. I know Irsa, who co-commentated with me, did use her for the entire game, which is funny because Julia is like. Oh wait, I think he used Kate actually. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I don't remember for sure. Anyway, they used Kate. Yeah, they definitely used Kate. I don't know a whole lot about Julia herself, but she also sounds kind of similar to Atram and Zeno, except she's just in a different joining conditions. But this type of unit just doesn't seem super useful to me. Like, just another, like, a unit that just doubles everything but doesn't do a whole lot of damage kind of thing. But I don't think I even fielded her past like the first 3 maps or so I have no experience using this unit once again, so I'm afraid you're once again kind of on your own, Rengo, when it comes to Julia.
Oh, okay, I got to look up her stats. She's definitely carried by the Killing Edge that she joins with. She has, by comparison, 2 less strength but 2 more speed, lower HP and defense, higher initial mastery, which means that you can use Killing Edges, though those are only 7 mastery, so Atram and Zeno need 1 level to get there. She's basically like you know the joke about female myrmidons in Fire Emblem.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they are a joke, but yes.
They're a joke. Yeah, they're a joke. Weak, superficial speed, and overrated by the Fire Emblem community. Except I don't think in this case anyone overrates Julia, because Vega exists. I would say that like the speed doesn't really matter, and the strength disadvantage, which by the way is 25% growth as opposed to Xeno 35% and Atrum 40% with higher base, and overall wars promotion bonuses. That like she has adept, I suppose, but that honestly doesn't matter that much for her. Like it's luck percent, like it's chance based. Not literally luck percent. It's just chance based.
It's like it depends on her skill versus the enemies, right? Those kind of skills.
I think it might be actually dependent on her AS, but again, like she's just like I don't see it. Yeah, actually, continue is user speed percent, but that's like 11. That's like what 11% chance. 13 after promo. So some levels like I don't know 20% chance to proc adept.
Yeah. I
okay.
think our one standout thing is that she gets like the Astra event, which is very funny, but again, it's also like whatever. That's kind of late.
Yeah,
anyway.
it's funny, but like it's whatever. It's Astra low. Like who cares at that? Who cares honestly?
Isn't Astra good?
I mean,
like I think it's pretty low for availability reasons.
I mean, it's like again, it operates off the user skill minus enemy skill plus 3%. Like okay, it exists, but like at that point, are you really gonna care? Do you want to train her like just for that?
No, it's there for 30. I don't care.
At that point, I would honestly just train Atrum and make map 29 easier on myself.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so how we should place them? I would honestly say Atrum, Xeno, Julia. Atrum has Soul. That's the main thing, really.
Yeah. I feel like they feel like a fair bit worse than units above him. I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
like, I would be opposed to putting them in like in C somewhere.
Nah, I think they're fine. Honestly, like, I guess B stretches a bit, but honestly, they're still better than the C tier units. So okay.
Yeah, it kind of depends to me on like what happens to the rest of the units in C. But
yeah, exactly.
I don't know, like, are they really that much better than Arcus, for example? Or even Rudin?
I mean, at least they have a good combination of strength, speed, defense, and mastery.
I guess if they consistently one-round KO, then that's something. But do they?
Killing definitely help. They have a master lead. They get higher strength, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, fine. I'll keep them here. I have a suspicion that some of these next two units are going to move over them, but that's about it.
Yes.
Some of these two. Okay. These next two units also have not used because they're both from the route split choices. I think the first one is Ezekiel and the second one is Lionel, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Ezekiel, as far as I understand, is like an axe dude that you can pick like right away if you want to, but you never would in efficient context because Naron and Lee both exist and are better. But he's there, I guess, if you want to. But I literally I forgot everything about this unit because I only saw him in like a cutscene pick. Whereas Lionel only shows up after the first split, and then he replaces a unit that you did pick in the 4-way choice. And I mean, Lionel's a land soldier, so like way different. I know Lionel is someone that people definitely want me to move up, but I have no idea how good Ezekiel is. So why don't we go over Ezekiel first?
Okay, so when you first see Ezekiel, you might see that he's a foot soldier. He has 5 movement. Okay, standard infantry movement. The game is lying to you. He has Urbanite, which means that he gets +1 movement, which means that he actually has 4 movement on regular terrain. His skills are Lethality, Urbanite at base, and then he has a gimmick, quote-unquote, that he gets Mountaineer, Grass Runner, and Frontiersman at like level 12, 18, 24. His stats are honestly meh, like 27 HP, 8 strength, 7 speed, 7 defense. Like, that's okay, but like low 4 movement. At that point, honestly, use Garrow, like realistically. Like, sure, he gets sword and lance, but like that's not really doing for him much, and he just goes up to 5 movement. Honestly, like, this guy is so bad, I would honestly drop him to C. Like, he's actually I guess his closest I guess his closest comparison would be like Julia, but at least Julia gets the standard 5 to 6 move, and sure access and like maybe higher defense, but honestly his offenses aren't great. He has like nothing for skills besides the funny mobility ones, and he gets the most relevant one, Frontiersman last.
So just put him next to Garrow then for now.
Yeah, honestly, just put him below Garrow even.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Hmm.
That's funny. Okay. Lionel, I know he has like somewhat better prospects because, I think he can get to a point where he can pill him everything and actually come out on top, which seems a lot better than the prospects of Ezekiel. I had no idea he would be that bad. But again, I didn't use this unit, so I'm very curious if you have any experience with him.
Yes, I definitely have Lionel experience. Okay, so Lionel, he's a bit interesting. First of all, he actually has a high speed base, 11. Second of all, he has 5 movement baseline without any skills. So, well, he does have skills, but he doesn't need support to reach 5. So when he promotes, he actually has 6 movement, which is standard infantry movement. So that's already good. He has a 5% movement growth with some pretty good bases. Like again, 26 HP, 8 strength, 11 speed, 5 defense. A bit of a glass cannon, but can make it work, and the speed is definitely nice. It has 9 mastery, so can already use pylons. Promotion is good. Has Wrath at base. That's the really good one. He has Wrath at base, and he's really good at abusing it. Like he just tanks, throws stuff. Doesn't have flurry or anything, but he just has good movement. And those 5% movement growths, I mean, it's 5%, but eventually you're gonna get like 1 movement. And already having 7 is a massive game changer for him. Like having 7 means he outruns every single infantry unit in the game, unless like a swordmaster is using a terrain skill, for example. But he also has Urbanite of his own. He gets Nihil, that's like very situational. I don't think that even matters at level 17. But it's mainly the combination of Wrath, equal to infantry movement, good speed, and just like solid and like lances indoors being really good. Because most of the good indoor units are locked to swords, so you would want lances to just have the 1 to 2 range coverage with pylons.
Yeah, he seems really useful. I'm surprised the speed is so high. I did not expect that. So, it sounds like A tier to me because like
Yes,
he also has good availability.
yes, he's A tier. I would say above Catry. Yeah, above Catry actually. He's just like really solid, and you would keep bringing him like when trained, definitely.
Sure.
Above Raquel? Question mark. I'm not sure.
Yeah, my initial guess was going to be like around Samson somewhere, but I don't really care exactly much where he is.
Maybe actually around Samson would be correct.
Yeah,
Okay, you know what? Move Lyria above Samson and put him next to Samson.
sure thing. I'm down.
Just put Staffers above. Yeah,
I mean, I don't really care which way.
yeah, sure, whatever.
They even have like a similar face.
Yeah, I don't care either. Like they're actually pretty similar because they're 6 move indoor infantry that use something other than swords. I mean, he can also use swords, but low. I guess you might like use a guard blade maybe, but if you really just want to tank. But
Is that the one that gives like a random amount of defense?
yeah, random amount of defense between 1 and 20.
Yeah, I fought a Garp Blade Gladiator in the arena before with Sasha. It did not go well for her.
Yeah, yeah, sadly. But yeah, like they're just really solid indoor infantry, and he has the funny gimmick that if he gets even 1 point of movement, then he already pops off. If he gets more than low, the TAS for this game actually has him as their like main unit because just rig movement growths them out.
That's hilarious. I'm definitely considering picking him, like going, like if I'm playing this game again, like picking early Naron just to see how fun it is, and then having Lionel as the
Yeah,
whole pick.
I would say he's actually the optimal second pick in all circumstances.
That makes a lot of sense.
Like late Naron isn't all that insane, and he has that indoors funny.
Yeah, and then the rest of his competition is like Ezekiel and Luca.
Look at the unit where like, what is my purpose? Dying.
Yes. All right, C tier. So we already discussed Arcus back when we talked about Christ, but I think Rengo suddenly had an epiphany about Arcus. Does he not belong in C tier after all?
Yes, I had an epiphany. Arcus does not suck as much.
Damn.
I am literally at my wit's end here saying these words, but okay, fine. He's not like C tier.
He does look odd compared to Runen and like the people here.
Okay, fine enough. Like, sure, strength doesn't. Like, his strength kind of sucks. His mastery sucks, just straight up. But he's not like C tier material. He joins chapter 1. He's fine enough. He can go into like around the bottom of B. Probably not the very bottom. I would say he's better than Julia. As for whether he's better than a Shram or Zeno, I don't care enough for that, honestly. So, just what do you think? Better than Atram and Zeno or no?
My instinct says no, but I didn't really train either of those, or Julia for that matter, so I don't have super strong feelings on it either way. Also didn't train Arcus, obviously.
Yes.
My instinct just says like this unit joins way earlier so you can get them out of their bad period before they even join. Well, I guess Julia doesn't join that much later. I don't know.
I would say... I don't know.
This is like that region in the tiers where like I don't know, man.
Like there. Just to spy them, I want to say below Zeno, just because like I feel like those two have probably better returns. But honestly, you could go either way, and I wouldn't bat an eye.
Mm-hmm. What if you train these two? You just get like budget Shean, right? Basically.
Budget Shean, basically.
Yeah.
Balance unit.
It seems like better, I guess. I mean, when we say budget, is like better, worse, or about the same?
Like slightly worse.
Yeah. Okay. But sure. Seems fine. I mean, Shiga was just really, really good for me, but part of that is just him being around a whole lot more, and we're just starting a lot better. So it's really hard to judge him by that metric. But I do like the idea of him being at least in the same tier as Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Even if Christ is like significantly better, but that's represented by the gap between them. Esther as well. Like I obviously had a good experience with Esther, but I also gave her a lot of resources. So,
but she honestly just has better rewards because, damn, bronze paladins really did need 7 movement, huh? Thanks, Saga.
Thanks. Yeah, it's just her start scores, but we went over that.
Yep.
Okay. You don't have to blow the mic. You don't have to blow on the mic, dude. I'm sorry.
Absorb.
So Runen, I think we've mentioned before, I think with Holmes, about how he's kind of restricted and how he walks around. I think that's much more the case with Runen, because he basically is Marth in every sense of the word. And like, when I say Marth, I mean more like Shadow Dragon Marth, or whatever bad version of Marth you can think of.
Look, Nintendo really went up to Kaga saying, okay, you can't have blue hair. Okay, makes him look exactly like Leaf.
It's the exact same as everyone else in every other way possible. I guess he does have like some random perks. Like I think he supports some random good units, and he gets a good sword in the end game. You know, little perks like that. The rapier is nice. I don't remember what else he gets, but he's just there's like some not insignificant reward for training Runen, but I think for a lot of the game you can get away with just not using him, and he feels about the same because he just ends up walking from beginning to end without doing a whole lot. Like, if you want to finish this game and get through all the slow animations, then you probably want to move Runen in a somewhat efficient manner. That kind of restricts what he can do exactly in battle. But he's not great at combat, right? Like, he's not good at fighting.
He's not great at combat, but he's also not actively bad at combat, I would say. He actually does hold up fairly decently, but he is restricted, as you mentioned, because he's always forced to move to the objective, basically. Whether that be the seize point or some recruitment, for example, like Narcos. He can use Soul, which is the sword that Raphael gives him in Chapter 19 at base, even in 0%. That does give him some nice combat. I wouldn't say he's... there is definitely a difference between B and C here, because like he's definitely like a drop-off in quality. But I would also say he's not like actively bad, which is why I would say top of C tier actually makes sense.
Yeah.
He is restricted by movement, but his combat isn't aggressively bad, and he can use, for example, like killing edges fairly easily, I believe. And then just some other random weapons. He can utilize like shield stacking or even an armor if that's available to boost his survivability. He just has a lot of tools to make him work, and they aren't all that like insane.
Yeah.
So he's a lord, but like it's not like, I don't know, H5 Marv bad. He just works out.
Mm-hmm.
After promotion, he actually has some very good promo gains. So there's that.
Yeah.
He's actually fairly decent, a fairly decent fighter, even in 0% for like Chapter 34, for example. Obviously not like super amazing, but also not bad. And then he actually does like his dragon combat in chapter 37 fairly well, even at base. So yeah, he's just nice.
Yeah, there's a couple things. This is not a whole
Yeah.
lot. Also, the
Yeah,
promotion is late. Obviously, that's the main problem. It's like he doesn't promote for a long while.
Yeah, obviously. But like again, like you could do far worse. So while I agree that he's C tier, he's also the top of C tier, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, seems fair. What about Garo? I only used him like for the couple maps where you want to use him probably, and then like one map where I didn't have to in Holmes route somewhere. But generally, he's so slow movements and didn't really have a whole lot to do because of it. Like if he had like Oswin like combat, right? I would put up with low movements just so that I could make use of it. But because this is not Oswin but Garo, it just felt super awful to get him to catch up anywhere and not even get a reward for it. And then other characters just kind of get better at one-running stuff. There's like a couple times where water walking does something funny, like in the very first chapter. But generally, I just didn't find a whole lot of uses for him. Is there some secret Garo attack, or is he just bad?
He's nice for a select few early chapters, and then he drops off the face of the earth, basically. But he is genuinely good for those chapters because like his space, strength, speed, and HP are actually pretty good for that point in the game. Axes are a bit inaccurate, but like he also gets like the tomahawk, and he gets adept to possibly mitigate the amount of times he misses. He's nice for chapters which are water movement, which I believe is chapter 1, chapter 3, which are chapter 3 is basically chapter 1 but in reverse. Chapter 6, which is the like big bridge, and the initial big bridge, not like the super late one.
Mm-hmm.
And then chapter 13 is the boat, and I believe chapter 12 is also sea movement. And even if it isn't, that chapter has him start within like rush distance of enemies. That map is super small, so he can actually get to the action there.
Mm-hmm.
So he is actually nice for those chapters, but beyond those chapters, yeah, he just doesn't do much. But he is genuinely like good and useful for those maps. So I would say he actually contributes fairly well, even without training.
Yeah, so like just like Rudin, like a limited space of being very useful.
But still useful.
Yeah, Rudin's like usage is more spread out throughout the entire game and is like less outstanding. But
yeah, and Garros is more concentrated.
Yes,
I would say to keep him where he is.
Yeah, it seems fine to me. All right, so we talked about Ezekiel. So orange-haired girls. I think they both promoted like the same class. They roughly feel the same, right?
They promote to Bow Knight from Lady Knight. They are Kate and Sharon. Basically, bow sword infantry early on.
Yeah, like dismounted nomad troopers, basically, right?
Basically, yes, but bad.
Or rather, I remember them being like kind of like Myrmidons. Like I remember them being similar to Julia, but with bows, but just not good enough to really stand out anywhere.
They also have 4 movement, by the way.
Oh.
So yeah.
Ooh, that's disgusting, bro. Why did you say that while I was drinking?
And then the promotion gains are like, okay, they get a horse, but they also get like bro nothing from the promotion. So yeah, and then if they have to dismount, oof.
Yeah, and I feel like the big thing with them was like they don't start out like that, but they start out kind of bad. Like they start out as a training project and they end in like mediocrity anyway. So just like the worst of both worlds. But they're not D tier then, or are
they're not. No, they're not D tier. They're sufficient in combat enough that they don't land in D tier. They join early enough. Horse can be nice. Horse can be nice. They work.
Mm-hmm.
I would say they're fine as it is right now because like bows and swords can be nice early game. For example, like use a bow gun, which weighs them down, but it's a nice chip.
I swear there was something. Yeah, Sharon gets flurry, right? That's kind of good for a bow unit. Yeah, level 15.
Okay, yeah, that would be good, but it's level 15, so it's slightly more effort. But yeah, she just joins later. With Kate, you're probably just better off honestly killing her off. But if you want to use her, that'll be feel free.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not joking about the kill off part. If you don't care about the story, you can genuinely just have her killed off and only revive her after end game. Then you don't have to. She can't defect if she's dead.
Doesn't she just go after Zeke and then
If
get
she goes
like
after-
semi-kidnapped, right?
Yeah, that's actually what happens. But like, if she's dead, that can't happen now, can it?
What was the advantage of having all units alive again? It's like a special scene in the end
Uh,
game.
you get a special scene in the end game. It's what constitutes full recruitment, technically.
Oh yeah. So I'm sorry, Kate. You're like the honor of like being. You're in the same category as Shegan and what's the other one that needed to die at some point? Luca.
Luca, also debatably Christ if you're going for the Latina event.
Oh, right.
And you don't kill.
Optimization.
What is my purpose? Dying.
Oof. Right. So stay where they are. Go lower.
Yeah. No, stay where they are.
Yeah.
Well, it just so happened that, for example, the next unit is just moving further up.
Yes. All right. Done.
Bruh.
I thought he was good when I tiered him. It's just, well, I tried to use him when I could, but I felt like there wasn't enough availability to make him good. Because he's like a late joining general, or semi-late joining general. Not that late joining general, but like kind of late joining general, to the point where it's like, there's no way these units can be good. Like, I think all Fire Emblem games previously have conditioned me to give a little bit more skepticism towards generals than other units, and so I didn't tier him very high. But I did try to use him when I could. I thought it was funny to have like a Brave Sword general just one on things. He does have like insane bulk, and Brave Sword gives him good offense, so I didn't think it was bad.
Bro is also insanely fast. Like, like he has 50 HP, 17 strength, 11 speed, 18 defense. Like, that is like actually insane stats. And he has 4 movement, but he also has Urbanite as a skill, which gives him 5 movement in castle maps or city maps. Which means that, for example, well, chapter 23, he's nice because it's a more waiting map, so he can just camp like a reinforcement side. And then in either 26B or in the Renee map, he can also put in work. Like 26B, it's indoors, it's a castle, so he actually like thrives there. He actually has like great combat limited by only movement, which, I mean, that's a significant disadvantage, but there are enough situations to put him in where like that movement isn't as much of a penalty because the action just happens close to the spawn. Chapter 34, for example.
Oh, the Ballista map, right?
The Ernst map, for example. Yeah,
that's fair. But like
the castle map is not as bad.
So I'm assuming you want him somewhere in B tier then, right?
Yes, I want him in B tier, probably like above Frau.
Yeah, the only unit that's similar to him in any way, I feel like, in B tier is like Lionheart, but he seems like very different.
Yeah, Lionheart just works more on outdoor maps, so mobility is nice. But again, like Zachariah just actually has pretty insane stats.
Yes, I am convinced of his bulk and speed.
Yeah, so it is actually kind of like an Osmond situation, except he doesn't join as early.
Yeah, he reminds me more of like Xavier in a way. It's like good.
Yeah, actually, that's
although
a great.
Xavier joins like later in the game, relatively speaking, probably though. Like
probably yeah, but like Xavier also has that leadership star, so
yes,
he has more incentive to be fielded.
Yeah, do you ever get like any other mid? Because he joins like what's the map number where he joins again? Like 20?
He joins after chapter 22.
Yeah, and then the game is 40-ish maps with the route split in there. Yeah,
at the tail end of Holmes 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we'll throw him where he said. My overlay's getting fucked up. No, come on. There we go. Fixed it.
Amazing.
Yes, it's because we lost a line in the C tier.
Outstanding move.
I know. It hurts where it hurts. Okay. So thief time, I guess. Do we just go over thievery in general, right?
Yes.
Yes, because there's like actually like 4 thieves-ish units. I feel like this game is very hit or miss when you're a thief. Like, well, there's a lot of maps where you just don't deploy a thief, I feel like, and there's some maps where you kind of want 1 or 2, but generally there's not a whole lot of thieving going on. They can't even like what they can do exactly depends on which unit we're talking about, because they have like different skill sets and stuff, but generally they don't really use thieves a whole lot, so it makes sense for them to be like very, very low. But there's a couple times where having 1 is nice. I think they're right now, they're in order of availability, which is probably the order they're going to end up in. And I don't really know what else there is to them besides Merkin being funny because he nerfs the other units that are around him.
Well, okay, the first three are where they should be, like Uni, Krishna, and Bud, because like they're just lockpick basically, with the odd chance to steal something. Stealing in TRS works that you hit the enemy and you have a random chance to steal an item.
Bold of you to assume they'll hit.
Exactly. Uni has that hot 1 strength, so obviously the answer is just use Empower Lamau. But okay, memes aside, they're basically like lockpick / occasional steal utility.
Yeah, but it's not a whole lot. You don't even need to lockpick a whole lot, do you? Right? It's like I can think of like 3 maps with chests or doors.
Well, there's like chapter 11, but that's Holmes can handle that.
Yeah.
And Mogul Cave is a big one where you actually want a second lockpick user because otherwise, lol.
Yeah, that's where I brought Uni with the Miracle Charm, I think is what it's called, and the main gauge, just so she wouldn't die if I accidentally exposed her.
Yeah, sounds about right. Now the other attraction in the room, Mercian. Now this is an interesting unit right here. Now you might think like his growths. Again, like FE1 Jagan has nothing on Mercian. Basically, bro is like, I believe it's like what 10% HP and 5% everything else. Basically.
Damn, his growth almost fit on a single line. What a bro.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But he acquires fine additions to your collection. So he actually has a fairly good strength stat at 9. Well, okay, 9 strength, amazing Rengo. But like when Uni has 1, that is actually somewhat significant. You could use a Mastery Potion if you really want him to use better weaponry, but the real strat is to just use Empower on him unironically and have him like last hit stuff. And before you say, oh, you're using a +10 strength staff on him to make him good, remember the benefit here is that you get to steal the enemy's entire inventory on kill. And sure, like he has a debuff aura, but like you can definitely play around that. And when you're facing human enemies, you can just steal a lot of stuff, and then you can put that stuff towards either leather shields or miracle charms, negate the chance to get screwed over.
In a more dire situation. Also, it doesn't affect himself, the aura, right? It just affects allies. Like,
yeah,
he doesn't give -50 hit to himself.
No, it's not to himself. It's just to allies.
Yes. That makes it hurt less.
The range is free, which I mean that exists, but it's like you can definitely play around the range for free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the thing I found a little bit difficult with him, I remember, is that you want people to be away from him to avoid the debuff, but then he's alone fighting enemies, and that's a little scary with his stats. I know he doesn't die in one hit or anything, but he's not someone who's going to solo entire armies unless you also like armor him or something.
You can give him you can give him shields. He can definitely afford them.
Mm-hmm. That's true. He pays for it by himself.
Yeah, he pays back afterwards. He's
an investment opportunity. He has an investment. He looks like he has an investment opportunity for you.
Sorry, Holmes. Sorry, Merchant. I can't give you credit. Come back when you're a little richer.
So you want to move him up then?
Yes, move him up to above Zachariah and below Garrow. I believe that's the proper place for him, because the first two have like Runen has more consistent combat around the game. Garrow has a few specific spots. Merchant is also like that, where he just has a few specific spots to pop off, but it's not for combat, it's for monetary gain.
Wait, so between Runen and Garrow?
No, between Garrow and Ezekiel.
Oh, I thought you said Zechariah. I was like, wait.
I think I actually did say Zechariah.
I was like, wait, so you want between B tier and C tier? Got it.
Look, it's a temporal glitch, okay?
Okay, fair enough. That does happen when you time travel a lot. Alright, I do like that. That makes sense.
Bro is stating IRL.
Yeah. I mean, the units below him aren't actually going to be the good without investment either, and he actually like has a positive payment, so I don't hate this.
Yes, Lord Lionheart.
The best character in the game, for sure, Lord Lionheart. He is also a bow knight, I believe, but like...
He's nomad,
bad bad.
Bro can't even use an iron bow at base.
What is he doing with like a bronze bow or something? What's it called?
Bow gun.
Bowgun, right?
Bowgun.
He seems very bad.
I would actually say he's as bad as to drop to D tier.
Damn, bro.
Like, bro is actually bad. Like, he just doesn't return anything. He has a horse, I suppose, but like the next chapter is literally Fold Bolt, which equalizes his movement pretty much, and then bro just doesn't get anything relevant to shine. I would still say.
What is bro's name?
Shiro. Actually, his given name at birth is Yesel Reinhardt.
Yes, I knew that was coming. I'm just gonna check his skills real quick. Okay, yeah, he doesn't really like he gets Kanto at 14, but like okay. Where did you want him in D again?
Top of D tier.
Top of D tier.
Because availability, and he can like put in mild amount of work at like Bolt and 19, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess he's
like
he sure exists. His growths aren't even good. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, he exists.
Yes.
Yes, Reinhardt.
Cool. Okay. I think you mentioned at one point that the C and D tiers were actually interesting, but I'm curious which one of these is actually interesting. Because there's not that many that seem like better than, but you know.
Well, we had some interesting stuff. We had some interesting things already in there. So
that's true. The Zachariah and Garo and Martin were definitely cool.
Not to worry, we are still approaching the most interesting unit right here.
For sure.
He is fantastic. He does everything.
But first, let's blow through some garbage. Who this?
Verna.
Oh, yeah. I thought she was going to be really good because she came with that spear and it was an outdoor map, and they didn't tell me the rest of the game was indoors.
Did you know that steering Saga actually has a triangle attack?
Oh, it sure does. Like, so is it between Sasha and Martel and her?
No, it's between her, Frau, and
Martel.
Frau,
of course.
They're sisters. I don't know if there is that special dialogue. I think it can only be triggered outdoors. I don't know. I've never used it. But yeah, just like the curse of she has one good map and then bro nothing because indoors. Technically, you could mount outdoors in endgame. Like the big open area in between is actually considered outdoors, but like why?
Well, if her combat was good, then why not, right?
Oh yeah, but like even then, it's not like spectacular.
Yeah, so, you don't need a whole lot of combat there, right? You just need like a couple units that can walk in there.
Exactly. At least the spear she comes with isn't like totally wasted because Rafen can use lances indoors.
Yeah, I feel like she would be good if that was her personal, or rather, she wouldn't be good, but she'd have something stand out.
If it was her personal, but she couldn't use lances indoors, then bruh.
Yeah, that would be major bro. I don't know, but you know that map where you have the sorcerers and you have the Draco zombies? If you could just mount her that like that one tile, that's like outdoors. The removed bridge. It's like, yeah, I have a Salia spear now, and she just dies to Draco zombies.
Whoop.
Big gaming. Yeah, I was very surprised to see you could just give that to Rafen and murder everything. And at that point, I was like, okay, Verna's over. I no longer want to play with you anymore.
One good chapter, then bro nothing.
Yeah, and like even that one, that's their joining chapter, right? Basically, the one where that's like that's a cutscene basically when you think about it.
Well, yeah, but there are a fairly decent amount of enemies there, so she can actually put in some more there.
Yeah, I suppose. Sure.
So it's not like useless. So again, like this place seems fine because she is actually good for that chapter.
Yeah, I agree. It's she's bad enough and unavailable enough to be in D tier, but there is only one good chapter for her. That's very limiting.
Yeah.
Norton. I was so close. He's like really immobile base, but he does promote to Great Knight, right? So there's some kind of semi-return to training him, right?
I as someone who actually has used him, by the way, to promotion and further, no. He has Wrath, but that's about it, actually. Like, who thought free movement armors were good?
Is he tanky at least? He is, right?
No, not that much, really. Like, he's somewhat tanky, but like not that much. The horse, when he gets it, again, it's like the Lady Knight where he gets horse and then bro nothing. And when he dismounts, obviously, he loses all that. But the horse also has 6 move. So and retains armor slayer weakness, so there is still that. Like bro, just like Raph is still not. Raph is still decent enough that I don't believe he should drop below. Like he can work, but like bro, like you're ironically better off hoping for movement procs, and it would and even if you don't get it, it would still be more relevant than him getting on a horse.
Yeah, is he more likely to get movement procs than like?
No, he has 0. I was referring to the fantastic unit that does everything next over.
Yes, him, Bilford. I love using Bilford so much. I don't remember how many procs I got exactly. I want to say 2 or 3.
Norton stays where he is. Can we just move on to talking about Mr. Fantastic over here?
Yeah. I was about to. I was like, Bilford was so fucking good for me. Like, I put him here because I thought I got really lucky, but apparently Rengo is with me on the Bilford train, so I'm here for it. I got 2 or 3 movement procs. 2 of them on screen for sure. It's so fucking funny. And he's like not that far from promotion anyway, so it wasn't the biggest slog ever to get him there.
Exactly. As someone like Bilford actually has some very important contributions to 0%. He's the only unit. He's like the one unit that can wield the sword breaker at base promoted. Well, and he joins at level 8. So it's actually, and the fact that in chapter 10 you have to wait for Mintz to get into the fort anyway means that he can definitely get into position either for the plains battle or for the fort. It's a case of like the investment isn't like as much. He doesn't do anything in 17 because that map is just so open that he never gets anywhere. But then like if he promotes to Fort Balt, then he can already like go in because forests don't slow him down as much comparatively to others. He is fairly tanky. He has 100 confirmed sword kills, so his accuracy is boosted by 10 and avoid by 10.
That's the sword he comes with, right? Does it actually have 100 kills?
Yes, he is at 100 kills.
Damn, what a bro.
Gives 10 hit and a 10 avoid when using sword.
Yeah, he joins with Sharon, right? Is that right?
Yeah, he joins with Sharon, and they have support. So there is one reason to use Sharon, I suppose.
There you go. Go for more confirmed kills. Be there to confirm his kills.
Yes, he also has Raph, and he has Pavai's baseline.
Oh, so he can stop himself from activating Wrath. That's so good.
Yo, or he can just tank for days.
Yeah.
But again, like he has that tech of just destroying Barbarossa with a sword breaker.
Yeah, it just takes forever to hit, right? Because his hit rate is gonna be bad.
Yeah, exactly.
But he just tanks, I guess.
Well, actually, no. Because in Tearing Saga, melee combat takes place on the defender style, so you just let Barbarossa attack into you for plus 30 hit.
Oh.
Because he then doesn't get his gate bonuses.
Oh, broken. His sword, I mean, gets broken by Bilford.
Yes, and then like even if he gets like 1 movement proc, which isn't terribly unlikely, that already puts him at decent move. And if you give him like Frontiersman, for example, from Blood, which is a decent investment, then he suddenly zooms to like 6 move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 5% is not unlikely to happen like once. It probably won't happen like right when he promotes, but somewhere along the way.
Yeah. So like he's 6 speed, but like he uses swords. So yeah.
Enough for enemies that don't use swords, I guess.
Enough, and then +2 on promotion also. So there's that. Human enemies are just slow in tearing, so he definitely benefits from that.
Mm-hmm. So
placement above Zachariah.
Oh.
Probably below Mercian Mercian, because Mercian is just like, you don't need to train him as much. No.
Zachariah, bro.
Ezekiel.
Temporal glitch. It's okay.
God damn it. The guy that you only recruit for Latina. There.
Below? Above.
No, above.
All right. Fair enough. I don't mind. Bilford Gaming.
Ezekiel just does bro nothing. Basically, he's just a generic combat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Bilford, he is fantastic. He does everything.
He is fantastic. All right.
But like, unironically though, he genuinely like is pretty freaking good.
Mm-hmm. Which is why we put him in C tier.
Yeah. Well, okay, like you see free movement armor, and you wouldn't say, oh yeah, this unit actually has like important tech in
As far as free
0%.
movement armors goes, this one is pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Speak of units that have really high mobility, let's talk about
Thomas the Tank Engine.
What's the tank engine? The most notable thing for him is that he's like a low movement bow unit that you can turn into an even lower move bow unit with like more range, aerospace or whatever. This just turns him into a ballista that cannot move for the rest of the chapter. You have to beat, like Runen has to sit his ass on the throne for him to be able to move again, ever again. He just gets frozen in place. It probably still has some funny applications, but not enough to move anywhere significant, I'm assuming.
Yeah, actually, where he is right now is actually to his ballista contributions. His bow utility basically doesn't exist, but like the ballista has some niche tech, even if transforming into a ballista actually nerfs his defense by a lot, because it's technically a different class. Ballista tech is nice for chapters 18 and 19. 18, you can use him in Fort Bout to just start shooting at the gate immediately. To chip it down before your other units arrive.
Fortunately, gates cannot dodge.
Yeah, fortunately, gates cannot dodge. And in 19, you could use them against like gargoyles, or because the boss area is so close, you could just immediately turn him into a ballista and shoot enemies inside. Like weaken someone to kill range or something.
I remember trying to shoot down gargoyles in, I think, the Barbarossa map, and there were gargoyles were like, oh, a target. They just flew towards it. It was like, shit, that's not good.
Those were harpies. Gargoyles are in 19, but yeah.
Yeah.
Same principle.
Yes. Same concept.
Shooting fast enemies with an inaccurate weapon.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong?
Recipe for success.
Could this happen to me?
Yes.
I made a mistake. Alright, so he's staying. I didn't get this one. I forgot what he's called, obviously. Hagar. I mean, I did like the Hagar meme back when it was new, but I didn't like this the look of this unit when I got him. He's like the same as Tom, right? But much later.
Yeah, but much later. Memes basically like occasional ballista use, not offensively bad, basically. Like not so bad that you like why exist. So yeah, like just have him stay there. There's not much to talk about here, just ballista, bro.
Yeah, I think he has Paragon or something.
Paragon.
Just in case you want to train this unit, this absolute unit. Yes, okay, he's staying.
Okay, here's a unit that is packing up. Leone.
Oh, she leaving?
Yes, she is leaving for greener pastures.
the C tier green?
Yes, the C tier green actually. I didn't notice that actually.
Wow, you didn't? Damn.
Yeah, I actually didn't. Okay.
Well, at least you noticed I put the unit in the wrong tier.
Yep. Okay. 6 strength, 10 speed. Not bad already.
Well, it depends, right? She joins kind of late, right? Kind of.
She joins in chapter 17. Sounds later than it is, but remember the last run, the Runen map beforehand is chapter 10.
Mm-hmm. Base flurry.
Base flurry, Paragon at 9, Urbanize on promotion, so additional movement, and 10% movement growth. So between flurry and the like 10% move and Paragon at 9, she actually can contribute fairly well. Like even like it's not that much of a hassle to bring her up. And then her promotion is also +3 strength and +3 defense. So she's also helped on that front. 55% speed growth, which is high for TRS standards, and 40% strength isn't bad either.
Wait, Rengo, so we're talking about an archer that attacks extra times and has movement growth. So we have Ronan here, basically, right?
Except with strength.
Ronan with strength. Well, his only weakness. Finally, I will be unstoppable.
Bro, Ronan would kill for the Radiant Bow.
Where did you say you wanted her? Somewhere
it's like
mid-C tier?
It's above Zachariah, definitely.
Also in B tier.
God damn it!
I thought she would be like similar to Leone when you're talking, but you want to like
wait,
here, right?
You just said that Leone would be similar to Leone.
Yeah, I meant Sharon. Temporal Glitch.
Above Ezekiel.
Above Ezekiel. We're just putting all the units above Ezekiel at this point.
Yes. Does this look like? Yes. Actually, this looks correct. Bilford is more immediately like lower movement, but more immediately useful, I would say.
Yeah, Leonie seems like she just needs more babying to get somewhere useful.
Yeah.
Whereas Bilford is like doing things by himself, and then he just promotes because he's doing it. It's just Leonie seems more offensively capable overall, but Bilford's bulk makes him more self-sufficient.
And he also has more enemy face because Wrath and Sword.
Yes.
Over, bows.
Yeah, bows. They sure exist.
They exist.
You sure have a bow and enemy phase. Right.
Speaking of bows and enemy phase.
What is my purpose?
Dying.
Oh no.
Bro gets you an 80 kill wooden bow. What am I gonna do with that crit?
Yeah, I think his name is Luca. You can pick him in the early game over the other units, and there's absolutely no reason to, other than because you already tried the other units. You want to try something different in your new playthrough, and like, I don't want to penalize him for denying you like Lee or Naron or anything. I don't believe that is necessary for a tier list, but even if you just got Luca in that chapter, I think he would not change a whole lot of ranking. Like, I might move him like above the ballisticians or something, but his stats are just awful, right?
Even then, like, bro, his stats are god awful.
They really said Gordon is too good. We need a worse one.
Yes, it speaks to something like where your best utility is just dying. Because what we mean by that is that at the end of 26A, which is the city chapter that Mecha didn't go to, there is an event if you have Luca and Raquel where someone kills Luca and Raquel just gets so mad that she breaks her vow and just kills the guy.
Wait, the game kills him off?
Yeah, the game just kills him off.
Oh, I thought you had to kill him yourself.
No, there is an event where the game kills him off. And
imagine training a level 2 archer with 4 strength and 25% strength growth for the whole game, just for the game to kaze him.
Admittedly, this is also the game with Dacron with free uses, so...
True. Oh, so you can just revive his story death.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
You can just revive him and then he's fine, but that uses up a Dacron use.
True. Very, very... We talked about how many units have fucking died in this game, so... Sure gonna need that. Yeah, I mean, it's really splitting hairs to put him anywhere, but do you think he should move?
Nah. If, like... You could theoretically make some arguments between Hagar and Luca, but this is not a discussion I am willing to entertain.
I agree. Be bad.
So, like, whatever. If you say Luca is better than Hagar, be my guest. I wouldn't argue you. I don't care.
I agree. You know who else I don't care about? This unit that I almost didn't even put on the tier list because the code name paster, the code maker for tier list hub, just dropped her off the face of the earth. The tier list doesn't even care about this unit.
The tier list doesn't care. Okay, like, there is one good thing about her. She has +2 movement over, like, baseline, so you can make 26B go smoother by recruiting Arcus. That's it. Like, who thought giving an S to that low of, like, strength growth is good?
She has Paragon, right?
Shut up.
What is her name again?
Lena.
Just Lena. Because I remember Lena, I was like, wait, that's a V6 unit. Yeah, no, she seems absolutely positively awful. And if it wasn't cool recruitment, I wouldn't have done anything with her.
For how bad Lena is, at least she's not Lena.
Yeah, how come they both join in a jail cell, though?
Lena is exponentially worse.
Why does she have 10% strength growth?
Again, like, what is my purpose? By the way, and before you think, Left Sword, with that 40% magic, 2 base mastery. Like, I've talked about the mastery potion to pegs, but this is ridiculous.
You need what did you need for that? Like 12 or 7? What was it?
You need 8 mastery for 11 swords, so that would be 2 mastery potions.
Oh god. Cringe, bro. And then indoors you don't even get the plus 6 magics, like, bro. Oh, wait,
well, no, she's a Cavalier.
Yeah, so she didn't even get that to begin with. Wait, what is her magic then? It's 0. What the fuck, bro?
It's 0, exactly. Base. So you're just banking on that 40% magic.
Hey,
you are literally hoping.
This has never gone wrong in history of Fire Emblem relying on a 40% growth.
Yes.
Right. So that's the worst unit in the game.
But like, okay, look, it's a 40%, but in the eyes of Fire Emblem fans, at least it's not 35%. That's where they draw the line. Like 40%, okay, fine. 35%, unacceptable.
I sleep. Real shit.
Yeah, basically.
Yes. So that's the worst unit in the game then, right?
Yes.
Yes. Now we technically do have 3 units left that I left out of the initial tier for spoilery reasons, but they're more like Gotos. They joined so late that they're barely even units, but they have to go somewhere. I'll throw them in the bottom for now as I sort of turn on the screen. So usually these kind of units are like Athoses. They go like somewhere in the middle. It's kind of arbitrary where you put them, but I do feel like they're all good in the final chapter. Maybe, do you think they compare to Athos from FE7, or are they like worse or better?
Slightly worse than Athos individually, I would say, but like they combine to make endgame pretty smooth.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put them probably like bottom of C tier, just because like you could argue, above Fever, for example, but like it's an easy fix. And in the order of usefulness, Senate is by far the most useful because he's probably one of your best bets to kill the final boss.
Yeah, he's really strong, right?
Yeah, he's really strong, and he has the strongest PRF. Like those 4 weapons designed to kill Gurksel. If you give him a speed potion, he doubles. So yeah, have fun, Gurksel. Then the next would be Alfred, because he can teleport and he has Tornado, so he can either open doors for you if you don't have Sierra or Renee, for example, or he can just like contribute to killing those moguls that spawn around the final boss.
Yeah, spawn camping was what I did with him, I think.
Yeah, basically. And then Tina, not Tina?
Not Tina. Well, maybe she's the wife of Thingy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, basically. No, it's not Tina. Girl whose name Rengo forgot.
She's the whole game, bro.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Tell yourself that. She spawns next to the final boss, so at least you don't have to move. So at least you do not have to move her there.
It was really cool.
Yeah, and she just like fights her way through there, basically. And that's
Tia.
Tia. Okay, so I was close, I suppose, but nowhere near enough. Yes.
It's amazing how the human brain like remembers like parts of the names, but not the whole thing.
Yes.
You know, she's good.
She's by far the most I exist unit in there.
Yeah. Basically part of a couple of cutscenes just to beat the game, but you technically do gameplay actions with her, so she's unit.
But hear me out. She's actually the strongest unit in the game, because if you game over by going to turn 20 enemy phase, she's the only unit that doesn't die to Black Rain.
Wait, is there a reason for that?
Scripting.
Thanks, Saga.
It's scripted. Yeah.
Very cool. Very nice.
Amazing.
Saga beat the women-hating allegations with that.
He's never beating them.
Maybe not. Maybe Gaiden was a bit much to recover from.
Look, could be worse. Could be Shadows of Valencia.
Ouch. Right. So now I'm actually out of units. I have no more new units to tier. So, is there anything that looks super out of place to you?
Okay, there's one unit I would like to make. I would like to rate Mecha. I think Mecha is a D tier unit.
Cool. I appreciate this roast, this deep and cutting satire that just hit me right now.
Thank you. I aim to please. I am always willing to offer wise counsel.
We aim to please, but why are you using Kaga Axis for it?
I don't know.
Anyway, that's the list. I know you're all still watching, like 5 hours in or whatever this is, so thank you for your attention. And Rengo, thank you for joining me, both for the initial timeline and the alternate ones.
Thank you as well. Thank you as well. Hit me up when Berwick run, I suppose.
Yes, for sure.
I don't know, but like on a more going like for a bit of summary for this list, there are some units definitely here that feel samey. Like we're putting them, they're just like bad at combat or good at combat. But I would say overall, tiering has a pretty good unit variety. Like there's a lot of units here, obviously. So there will be like a couple of where they're just like bro nothing, but there are a lot of units that just stand out in some individual ways.
Yeah, Kaga really made full use of every way he had to distinguish units from one another, even if they had the same class. Like all the different personal weapons and skills and everything is just really well done about this game. Even if it doesn't result in a balanced game, I don't think that's even the goal in the first place. But even if it doesn't, that still makes it interesting.
Balance is my passion.
Balance is everyone's passion.
Yes, and it should be.
Cool. Well, thanks for watching. Bye!